Γεια σας παιδιά. Sorry που άργησα, αλλά άργησα. Sorry. Sorry που άργησα, αλλά δυστυχώς άργησα. Κάτι έτυχε. Μισό λεπτό. Κάτι έτυχε παιδιά και δυστυχώς άργησα. Σας ζητώ συγγνώμη. Sorry. Πάμε τώρα να δούμε τι θα δούμε σε αυτό το show, το οποίο δεν είναι show του Jeff Keighley ή άλλων συνηθισμένων παρουσιαστών, Είναι show κάποιον καινούριο στο χώρο, νομίζω. Λοιπόν, για να δω. Λοιπόν, Γιάννης Λίτρατ, κάτσε να φτιαχτώ λίγο γιατί. Δεν ξέρω τι λέω. Μισό λεπτό. Λοιπόν. Δεν το πιστεύω. Δεν καταλαβαίνω γιατί το YouTube ξαφνικά μου τα έχει βάλει όλα στα ελληνικά, ενώ εγώ θέλω αγγλικά. Άσχετο, οκ. Λοιπόν, καλησπέρα. Για να ποιοι είναι εδώ. Γεια σου Σούγκαρ. Γεια σου Γιάννης Λίτρας. Τζαν Dark John Καλόμαλος. Καλή χρονιά. Καλησπέρα Time Realm. Καλησπέρα Time Realm. Τι 379.000 subs στο Time Realm. Oh shit. Τι είσαι εσύ ρε μπρο. Οκ. Γεια σου Λιάκουρα, γεια σου Θανούλη, καλησπέρα στον Raven το φίλο μου, καλησπέρα στον Ντανίλο. Έλα μωρέ, σταμάτα μωρέ με τη Microsoft που τους έχει όλους απόλυση βρε Ντανίλο, έλα. Ναι, το show παιδιά ξεκινάει στις 11, έχουμε ακόμα λίγη ώρα. Έλα βρε χρόνιλο, βρε Ντανίλο και εσύ κακέ. Εδώ στις 22 του μήνα θα δούμε παιδιά το show της Microsoft και θα δείξουν Fable και θα δείξουν και το Forza Horizon 6 και ένα άλλο πάρα πολύ ωραίο το οποίο που θα είναι πάρα πολύ ωραίο. Γεια σου ρε Angel Slave. Ναι, GT6 και ναι, έχω και εγώ κάτι για το GT6, αλλά δεν προλαβαίνω να το κάνω αυτό το σουκού. Θα γίνει το επόμενο ή θα γίνει σε video short. Το Forza το Horizon 6 βεβαίως και θα βγει για το PS5, παιδιά. Ό,τι βγάζει πλέον η Microsoft βγαίνει και για το PS5. Οπότε λογικά θα βγει και για το PS5. Είτε θα βγει κατευθείαν, είτε θα βγει αργότερα. Αλλά το ότι θα βγει 100% παιδες. 100%. Γεια σου Ήλιο. Γεια σου. Ω Ήλιο, ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ καλά μου φίλε. Και ναι, όντως, επιτέλους Fable, παιδιά. Το Fable το πιστεύετε ότι το είχαν ανακοινώσει νομίζω πριν από 5 χρόνια. Πριν από 5 χρόνια, παιδιά, νόμιζα ότι το είχαν ανακοινώσει. Έλεος. 5 χρόνια. Καλέ μου Ήλιο. Ναι, αυτό λέει ο Χρήστος Παπαρίγος. Special Assassin είναι Angel Slave, ελπίζω να είσαι καλά, μπρο μου. Έλα βρε Τάνερ, καλέ μου Τάνερ. Ο χρόνος που είναι? Δεν πρόκειται να έχει κάτι τέτοιο το GTX. Αυτά θα τα δούμε στο GTRP Alex Strike. Μίλες πράγματα που δεν υφίστανται. Κανείς δεν θέλει να παίξει κάτι τέτοιο στο GTX. Το είχε ανακοινώσει το Elder Scrolls 6 το 2016. Το 16, πριν από 10 χρόνια. Σε ένα show που είχαν κάνει το 16, πριν από 10 χρόνια. Το θυμάμαι καλά. Και ήταν καλοκαίρι, είχε ακόμα E3 κανονικά και το είχε ανακοινώσει τότε. Και μάλιστα τότε είχε ανακοινώσει και το Starfield. Δεν νομίζω να είναι το show 3 ώρες. Εγώ πιστεύω ότι θα είναι 1. Είναι 3 ώρες και 20 λεπτά. Είσαι σίγουρος? Φίλε μου, εδώ 3 ώρες είναι του Jeff Keighley οι παπαρίες. Αποκλείεται να είναι τόσο μεγάλο. Αποκλείεται. Και ναι, παιδιά, μαζεύω πολλές πληροφορίες για το GT6, αλλά δεν ξέρω, νομίζω θα είναι το επόμενο μεγάλο βίντεο. Γιατί τώρα έχω κάνει λήψη για ένα άλλο βίντεο και δεν προλαβαίνω να κάνω βίντεο για το GT6 με λεπτομέρεια, αλλά αυτό θα είναι για το επόμενο σουκού. Πιθανώς. Το θέμα είναι πως... Δεν ξέρω, θα δούμε, αλλά μου φαίνεται παράξενο αυτό. Να είναι τόσο μεγάλο, 3 ολόκληρες ώρες. Ρε παιδιά, εδώ το show του Jeff Keighley, μα αυτό δεν θα είναι σαν το show του Jeff Keighley, ρε εσείς. Που μας είχε για 3 ώρες και από τις 3 ώρες, τέλος πάντων. Oh no. 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours. Σοβαρολογούμε. Ρε παιδιά, εδώ 3.5 hours ήταν τα βραβεία του Jeff Keighley. Ναι, τα follow of Cybertron και τα war of Cybertron, ναι, ισχύει. Ήταν αυτά ωραία. Ναι, αλλά 3,5 ώρες. Τι να δείξει, να πω ότι ο Τζεφ Χίλι ότι το έκανε αυτό. Να πω ότι, αυτό ήταν κάτι του Τζεφ Χίλι, να πω ναι, αλλά 3 ώρες. Ο Χριστός και η Παναγιά, ρε παιδιά. Αυτό λέμε, βρε Άλεξ Στράικ, καλέ μου, ότι θα είναι 3 ώρες. Ναι, όντως, όχι. Μου φαίνεται παράξενο, πάντως. Ναι, μα τι βλακίες να δείξει για να γεμίσει το χρόνο, τι βλακίες. Αυτό είναι το παράξενο της υποθέσεως, καταλαβαίνετε. Τι βλακίες να δείξει για να γεμίσει το χρόνο, ρε παιδί μου. Τι να δείξεις. Πόσο, τι να βάλεις στο ενδιάμεσο. Όπα. Κάτσε, ξεκίνησαν. Jake Λαλάκης. Όχι, Θεέ μου, αυτοί θα κάνουν την παρουσίαση. Λουάλιτι, ποια είναι η Λουάλιτι, Παναγία μου, πώς είναι έτσι. 100 κιλά σοβά έχει βάλει στο πρόσωπό της. Κάτσε, streamer θα τα δείχνουν αυτά. Εσκεστής. Τον Λουκ τον ξέρω, είναι ένας μαλάκας, ενώ, sorry. Αχ, Θεέ μου, ελπίζω να μην είναι κάτι που θα μιλάνε για 500 ώρες. Δεν έχω όρεξη να παίξω κάτι, να δω κάτι τέτοιο. Update για το Grounded 2, αυτό θα είναι ενδιαφέρον. Όχι, αρχίζουνε. Όχι ακόμα, εντάξει. Αυτό είναι το trailer. Αλλά μου κάνει, και πάλι παιδιά, μου κάνει εντύπωση γιατί δεν είναι show του... σε ευχαριστώ, Σουγκάρ. 45 games θα δείξουνε. Μα και πάλι 45 games. Παράξενο, ρε παιδιά. Ακούω 3 ώρες. Αυτό είναι το Atomic Heart το 2 πριν, που ήδη έδειξε πριν λίγο. Γεια σου, Άλεξ Σαμαράς. Περιμένεις το Resident Evil 9 σαν τρελός. Κάτι είχα ακούσει για το Resident Evil 9 τελευταία, αλλά δεν θυμάμαι τι.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a fantastic fantasy RPG.
Old school RuneScape is the greatest game of all time.
Lies of P is a better video game than Bloodborne.
The RPG category is so broad to the point that it's
Mouse and
keyboard is easier to be good at than controller.
The Horizon franchise is very mid.
A battle royale would not have saved Halo Infinite.
A battle royale would have saved Halo Infinite.
Multiplayer games are held to lower standards because everything you do with your friends is fun by default.
If most of our favorite games launched today, people would call them bad.
Hideo Kojima writes dialogue like an alien trying to convince everyone else he's a person, and it's bad.
Early access is good for video games.
Arkham Origins has the best written story in the Arkham series.
Nintendo is held to different standards than other companies.
Marathon is a more fun game than Arc Raiders.
PC or console? PC.
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 Console.
PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
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 Your mom.
Mouse and keyboard or controller?
Mouse and keyboard.
Mouse and keyboard.
Depends for what.
Controller.
Single player or multiplayer?
Single player.
Multiplayer.
Single player.
Single player.
Competitive or casual?
Competitive.
Casual.
Casual.
Next.
Call of Duty or Battlefield?
Battlefield.
You bastard. Battlefield.
Call of Duty.
Ugh.
Counter-Strike or Valorant?
Valorant.
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike.
Apex.
Εσύ βρε μαλακισμένη που κάνεις
Fortnite.
τους
I
εμετούς.
can't gritty with Master Chief and Apex, so
Παίζεις
we'll
τίποτα.
go Fortnite.
Whatever.
Overwatch or Marvel Rivals?
Marvel Rivals.
You say neither or neither? I'm from Iowa.
Either.
Neither?
No. You can say you pronounce it either way.
He said
Neither.
Marvel Rivals.
Ooh. That's a good one. Mmm. Like release Overwatch?
Arc Raiders or Escape from Tarkov?
Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders.
Arc
Τι θες
Raiders.
ρε Νεκτάρια,
Escape
τι
from
να παίξω,
Tarkov.
δεν
Red
καταλαβαίνω.
Dead Auto or Red Dead Redemption?
Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption, Arthur.
Mmm. Red Dead.
Elden Ring or Sekiro?
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
I haven't played Sekiro, but I'm gonna go Elden Ring.
Both.
Dark Souls or Bloodborne?
Bloodborne.
Guys, what should I answer? Dark Souls.
Dark Souls. No, I'm sorry, Bloodborne. Change my mind.
Would you choose which children you love more? Oh.
Arcade shooters or tactical shooters?
Tactical shooters.
Tactical shooters.
Arcade shooters.
What?
Battle Royale?
Εσύ βρε μαλάκο, τι σε πήγανε εκεί πέρα, αφού δεν
Battle
ξέρεις
Royale.
την τίπλα σου.
Battle Royale.
Baldur's Gate 3
Βλαμμένη.
Expedition 33?
Baldur's Gate 3.
BG3.
Expedition 33.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Witcher 3 or Cyberpunk?
The Witcher 3.
The Witcher.
The
The
Witcher.
greatest game of all time, The Witcher 3.
Yes. Both. Witcher.
Skyrim or Fallout?
Fallout.
Oh my. Fallout.
Fallout.
Ooh. Morrowind. And Fallout New Vegas.
Mass Effect or Dragon Age?
Mass Effect.
Dragon Age.
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect.
Outworld or Pokemon?
Pal World.
How World.
I don't want to get a cease and desist, so I'll say Pokemon.
Our World. Depends. Vaporeon? No, don't put that. Don't put that.
Super Mario or Sonic?
Super Mario.
Super Mario Bros.
Super Mario.
Sonic.
Destiny or Warframe?
Warframe.
Destiny 2.
Δεν μιλάει
Warframe.
κανείς στο chat
Diablo
εν τω
or
μεταξύ.
Path of Exile?
Path of Exile.
Diablo.
No, you can't do that to me. What the hell? Oh, man. Diablo is my childhood. Path of Exile is a lot better now. Ah.
Breath of the Wild or Ocarina of Time?
Breath of the Wild.
Ooh. I have a long story about Ocarina of Time. Pass.
Ocarina of Time.
Roguelikes or Metroidvanias?
Roguelikes.
Roguelites.
Metroidvanias.
I love both.
Για σου Νίκανκο.
Roguelite? Metroidvanias? Castlevania.
Achievement hunting or multiple playthroughs?
Multiple playthroughs.
Multiple playthroughs?
Achievement hunting.
People who only play games for achievements are so low on my totem pole. What was this? Sorry.
Achievement hunting.
Warframe μόνο.
Multiple playthroughs.
Multiple playthroughs.
All right, you're good.
Sorry.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a fantastic fantasy RPG.
Old school RuneScape is the greatest game of all time.
Lies of P is a better video game than Bloodborne.
Ναι,
The
δεν το
RPG
ξαναβλέπω.
category is so broad to the point that it's meaningless.
Mouse and keyboard is easier to be good at than controller.
The Horizon franchise is very.
Μας πρίξατε, κύριε. Λοιπόν, αυτοί θα μας δείχνουν δηλαδή το show σήμερα, για να καταλάβω, έτσι. Αυτοί θα μας δείχνουν σήμερα το show. Ναι, λίγο μαλακουάρδος. Αυτός που λέγεται Luke Stevens, δεν τον εμπάω με τίποτα, γιατί είναι ένας σε στυλ YouTuber content creator, ο οποίος δεν παίζει παιχνίδια. Λέει για τα πάντα και θάβει τα πάντα και λοιπά και λοιπά και λοιπά. Είναι μαλάκας ο Luke Stevens. Δεν τον πάω με τίποτα. Το Starfield το Starfield όταν είχε βγει το έθαβε για μήνες. Θάψιμο. Τι εννοείς ότι παίζει να είναι και δικό τους? Σαν το Μίστα που θάβει όλα τα games δίχως να τα έχει παίξει. Ναι, για μένα το κακό με τον Μίστα είναι το εξής. Κάνει ότι έχει gaming, ότι ξέρει από gaming, ενώ δεν ξέρει πάρα πολλά, κανονικά. Πάρα πολλά πράγματα. Τέλος πάντων. Αυτοί, παιδιά, οι πιο πολλοί που τους ξέρω είναι streamer και YouTubers, οι οποίοι ασχολούνται, δεν ξέρω. Ακριβώς, ο Luke τι κάνει εκεί στο event, αυτό λέω. Τι κάνει εκεί στο event ο Luke. Ο μεγαλύτερος θαύτης παιχνιδιών. Όταν είχε βγει το Starfield, ο Luke Stevens το είχε καταθάψει το παιχνίδι για 6 μήνες. Για 6 μήνες έκανε συνέχεια content για το πόσο κακό είναι το Starfield. Έλεος ρε μπρο μου, έλεος. Καλά είμαι, Νίκο Μάτς. Ο Luke νομίζω ότι είναι κομμάτι του event αυτού, αλλά αυτοί οι τρεις, μου λες ότι αυτοί οι 5, 4-5 πόσοι είναι, 4 είναι, 5 είναι. Ναι. Αυτοί οι 5, όχι, 4 είναι. Μου λες ότι αυτοί οι 4 θα είναι μαζί μας επί τόσες ώρες. Ναι, και εγώ τον βλέπω μόνο σε λήξη όταν θέλει κάτι να θάψει ή όταν θέλει να εκμεταλλευτεί κάποιο νέο, το οποίο θα αυτό και αυτά δεν είναι κάποιο άτομο το οποίο ξέρεις λες ρε παιδί μου, τι τρομερός, φοβερός, καταπληκτικός και αυτά. Ναι, δεν γουστάρω να το δω το show άμα... Και ειδικά αν θα δείξουν πράγματα τα οποία έχουμε... Εγώ θέλω ένα show. Όταν βλέπω ένα show, με εξαίρεση αυτά του Jeff Keighley που δεν έχουμε άλλη επιλογή. Εγώ θέλω το show να κρατάει τουλάχιστον για 1 ώρα, που είναι το ιδανικό, και δείξει μου κάποια πράγματα καινούρια. Μη μου δείξει πράγματα τα οποία έχω ξαναδεί. Αν μου δείξουν αυτοί πράγματα που τα έχω ξαναδεί, δεν θα καθίσω να το δω το show όλο. Ακούρε 4 ώρες. Τι θέλετε ρε να το παίξετε, Jeff Keighley νούμερο 2. Νερομάνα ποιος και ποιος λέγεσαι, άσε ρε τον WLG ήσυχο. Ποιος στο διάολο είσαι. Αντιγεια. Οπ, αρχίζουνε, έλα. Μα δείχνει πράγματα που τα ξέρουμε ήδη ρε φίλε. Αυτό που έδειξε πριν λίγο ήταν το Avowed.
Welcome to the Newgame Plus Game Showcase, a new initiative built by creators who love games for what they are and not just the games that pay to have them promoted. First up, I'm Hunter. I'm normally behind the camera across gaming and esports events, and I work on social accounts for a ton of different games. My favorite games of all time would probably be RuneScape, Dark Souls 3, Leaf Green, Black Ops 2, and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Then we have Jake Lucky, kind of the point where gaming, esports, and streamers collide. If you look at him for too long, you'll start to wonder why his neck is so long, and if you look at his Twitter for too long, you'll wonder how much Nadeshot paid him to tweet clips of him every single day. His favorite games of all time are RuneScape, Age of Empires 2, Halo Infinite, Jumpstart Adventures with Bodley, and CSGO. Next up, Luality. A streamer with a hatred of spoons and a love for dragon sex, Lua probably has more personality than the rest of us in her pinky. Her favorite games include Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, XCOM 2, Witcher 3, and Mass Effect. Then Luke Stevens, the mind of a critic with the heart of a fan. Luke breaks down games through their DNA and really looks at everything a game has to offer. Where our brains might be smooth, his is nice and wrinkled. His favorite games of all time are Elden Ring, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Last of Us, Witcher 3, and Batman Arkham City. The fifth and final in-person member this year is I Am Rob. Rob came from the hell of making Call of Duty videos to the other hell of platinuming games. His favorite games of all time are Witcher 3, Halo 3, Batman Arkham City, X-Men Legends, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Not to be confused with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. Then our final member is Blue Thunder, the man who is always spotlighting the next hidden gem before anyone else sees it coming. He just had a beautiful second child that luckily takes after his wife, so he's not here in person but was a major part of the showcase. His favorite games of all time are Resident Evil 2, Silent Hill 2, Elden Ring, The Last of Us, and Metal Gear Solid 2.
Together, we're pressing into how we think game showcases should feel: conversational, authentic, and transparent.
We are here to celebrate what actually excites us. Incredible worlds, creative devs, and stories behind those games that we love so much.
There's no paid placements, no marketing scripts, just pure passion and excitement for what's coming up in gaming.
You can expect a wide range of content, including new trailers, fresh gameplay, developer interviews, behind-the-scenes content, and even some updates to your favorite games.
So sit back, grab your drink of choice, and let's dive into some of the games that we think are worth your attention. This is the Newgame Plus Game Showcase.
Also, who picked the name?
Newgame.
It's a work in progress.
Wait, what's the name of it?
Newgame Plus shows the showcase.
New plus the game plus the showcase.
Have we trademarked that yet? Because I don't.
Oh, God.
Well, we have cups.
We
That's
already
most of
got the cups.
Sick name.
The cups are done, dude.
We might have to cut our losses.
There's no changing it up.
Cheers.
Perfect.
I like it.
It's great.
Okay.
All right, guys, so first up, we have three awesome games. We have Blind Descent coming from Owlcat. We have Deep Dish Dungeon coming from Behold and Raw Fury, as well as an exclusive interview with the Don Walker creative director.
Wow, έχει parkour. Αυτό πρέπει να είναι VR. Όχι, δεν είναι VR. Δεν μπορώ άλλα τετραγωνισμένα γραφικά. Σας παρακαλώ, φτάνει. Φτάνει, παιδιά. Α, είναι multi αυτό. Oh, wait, είναι multi. Για να το παίζεις με τους φίλους σου. Α, ενδιαφέρον. Αλλά και πάλι τα γραφικά είναι κόλλος. You also need Victory Fire. Deep Dish Dungeon. Σαν κόπ καλό μου φάνηκε. Να το Don Walker. Γεια σου Στάθη μου, τι κάνεις? Καλή χρονιά φίλε μου.
A Dawnwalker is like a special kind of being in our IP. It's neither fully a vampire nor a human. It's something in between. What this means is basically that you, as a Dawnwalker, you have underwent a transformation. You used to be human, And now, during the nighttime, you do get all the powers and the difficulties of being a vampire. So you get the blood craving and so on. But during daytime, these powers are dormant and you still have to eat. You have all the weaknesses of a human, right? But also the perks of being human. One of the things that is unique to humans in our IP is being able to use magic, so casting spells. The Dawnwalkers are not very commonplace in that IP. They are very, very rare, rarer than vampires. So you as a Dawnwalker are kind of special in this regard. I would say the short-term things that have immediate impact on the character development are you have to feed on, either animals or humans on blood suddenly, right? So you get these cravings, you get these like weird, eerie experiences that you didn't have as a human. Francis and his clique of vampires actually caught him on his low point when he was vulnerable. He has used specific traits of vampiric blood in order to cement his position in the valley. Because, as you might imagine, having a bloodsucker as your lord might be a tough sell. However, if the alternative is getting sick and, dying in thousands, actually it doesn't sound as such a horrible thing. He tries to kind of distort the religious beliefs in order to install himself as a savior of the valley. We do explore this in the game, so you might see, like, for example, statues erected to Francis, new iconography shown in the local cathedral, for example, and in the castle and so on. There is this whole cult of personality he builds around himself. So he basically shows himself as something better than the old order, right? We do have a mechanic tied to shrines that are erected across the valley, and Francis puts a lot of attention to kind of twist them to his own image. And these do have a functionality. When you play the game, we have assigned specific functions to them. Generally speaking, one of the things we wanted to achieve in this game is to have Francis being this active antagonist. In a lot of games, the antagonists are out there to be defeated, but generally speaking, you have free reign, you do your own thing, and it doesn't really, change much in how they approach you. In this game, what we wanted to do is to have Francis react to your actions as you, complete different activities throughout the valley, as you maybe undermine his operations and so on.
It's kind of like his seal of approval.
Exactly. So it's like, so basically the way you can think about it is like the more you do in the valley, especially if you undermine Francis, you will gain notoriety. The more notorious you are, the more edicts Francis will pass in order to thwart you. So for example, he might send out more soldiers to patrol roads and villages, right? He might, in some extreme cases, maybe even initiate a lockdown of the city to basically hamper your ways of traversing it, right? There is a number of these edicts we have prepared, and each of them is designed to kind of twist and change the general open world gameplay. It also has benefits. There are factions in the valley that dislike Francis, so the more notoriety you gain, the better standing with them you get, like they actually like that. There is a number of plot lines that you can follow if you want. You can also cut them off because we have added these systems where, for example, you might lose control over Cohen when he's a vampire if he was hungry. You might kill off some important NPCs and then the plot line just cuts off basically, or you get some alternative version. There are some ways to enter the castle in the open world. You can ignore these side plot lines. You can level up Cohen and decide to attack the castle on your own, right?
Out of curiosity, is there romance in the game?
Romance, yes, of course. We do have romance options, yes. We didn't delve deep into with whom yet.
Okay.
And, I'll leave that for the future to talk about. However, yes, you can expect to build relationships with characters. Like I said, there is one main goal, very varying ways to get to it. These different ways that you pick will impact, what happens with Veil Sangora in the end. And it's all up to you. And I think I really recommend experimenting with this stuff and having fun with it.
First one, Blind Descent, Martian, survival, co-op, adventure.
Gives me Subnautica vibes. And in the best way possible. I really like it, but more with land exploration, which is really cool. I honestly can't wait to try it.
We're also going to see a lot of survival games today. So I think it all comes down to what the ultimate depth of the game is. But I also, my first thought when I saw Martian land was No Man's Sky. That's obviously like maybe a reach for expectation-wise, and definitely a tall task. But when I heard Martian, I thought No Man's Sky-esque.
Like you said, a lot of survival games, but I think it's popular right now, and I'm hopeful that a lot of them do it right. But this is like going underneath Mars and has aliens. It looks interesting. I like it.
I'm intrigued about the variety of ecosystems and aliens and plants that they bring up.
Well, like you said, it's popular right now because people like them. And so they share a lot of things mechanically, but for me, it's usually the vibe. And this one has a vibe.
Yeah, it's a good vibe.
That's why I wonder how that gameplay loop goes. Like, how far down can you go? What kind of biomes are you experiencing as you continue to go down? And like you said, with survivals, we see like a lot of the same loops. So how can they?
Are there trees you can cut?
Yeah, like again, we're gonna talk about it a lot, but if you can cut a tree down, I'm good for survival games. I'm like
at that point.
I'm the target audience.
Ένα βρε Tommy Chan, καλή χρονιά Tommy
Then we have
Chan.
Deepest
Για βρε
Dungeon,
Tommy
co-op dungeon crawling,
Chan.
a survival game, a
Καλή
handcrafted
χρονιά,
dungeon.
Tommy
You got
Chan,
resources,
άλλο,
cook
άλλο.
to strengthen your party. You can party up with friends. I'm excited for it.
Speaking of vibes, this thing is a vibe. Like, I don't know what you'd call that art style, but whatever it is, like injected into my
Kind of retro,
veins.
right?
It's like pixel art, but then they also have like some voxel type
Ω,
tech for
125
digging and
άτομα,
breaking
φέγε
things. Whatever it is, I like
What's
it.
voxel type tech?
Okay, so when Luke said voxel, that's big word count number one of the day. When I see that, I'm very basic. I'm like, that's got to be some form of pixel art, which is definitely coming back. I feel like we're seeing more games kind of pull back that old view, that old like Minecraft pixel art, whatever you want to call it, voxel view.
I will be honest with you guys. While you guys are talking about pixels, I'm thinking I hope I can kill my teammates in funny ways. So sure, we'll go with the pixels.
Yeah, we were watching the trailer together, and the first thing she was saying was like, hey, how do I kill those I'm with?
I mean, I have to imagine it's a dungeon crawling game about cooking in the dungeon. Surely you're gonna be able to accidentally poison yourselves.
Do you think you can get like bad ingredients on purpose to murder your?
I bet you're gonna have to
Why
find
are
out.
you going there?
So I wonder though, with it being
Μποντάκια.
like in dungeons,
Μπορεί
like
να
if
είναι
they're
πάλι
gonna
τα
have an
μποτάκια.
in-game proximity chat kind of thing.
I hope
It's one of my favorite things in games like this when you're like walking through and you can hear your friend off in the distance. I wonder if they'll do something like that.
The Lethal Company
Yeah.
effects where they're like,
It looks like
far
you
away.
can hear them
that's meant to be
screaming.
Like
enjoyed
screaming,
with
right.
friends, for sure.
Yeah, like at
Me
least
and Jake gonna be in their edition in that dungeon.
like at least a co-op. He's across the world. I'm like, Rob, you there?
I'm dishing, baby. I'm dishing.
I'm dishing.
Making
Can you bring the carrot?
What are you making?
Lasagna.
Yeah, no, but it looks very promising though.
Next up, we have Dawn Walker. Lua had a crazy conversation with her creative director.
Δεν
Single
πειράζει.
player,
Εμένα με
vampire,
ωφελεί
RPG.
αυτό γιατί
It looks
στο τέλος
incredible.
του βίντεο
I think the
εμένα
30-day
αυτό μου
system
δίνει
is awesome. Like you
πιο
said,
πολλά
gets weight to
views.
things.
Οπότε όλα
And then the
κομπλέ
whole,
παιδιά.
like there's so many decisions you can make.
What I find really interesting about the game is
Ακριβώς
that
αυτό, Νίκος,
Conan, the
δεν λέγω.
protagonist, is half vampire, half man, and even though like all of that sounds great by itself, there's even another layer where at night, of course, he can use vampiric abilities that he doesn't get to use during the daytime. His combat's different. He's not using a sword, he's using claws. And then in the daytime, of course, there's NPCs walking around and there's, you know, maybe patrols going around that aren't there at night, but then there's different ones at night. So
And you can use magic as human. You can use magic as a vampire.
Yes, and basically what they're trying to do
Ω,
is
Tommy
to not
Chan,
just have the time, you
ευχαριστώ,
know,
Tommy Chan.
also, whether you're playing in day or night, quest lines play out
Ευχαριστώ, γλυκιά μου,
completely
Tommy Chan,
differently
καλά, ευχαριστώ
because people
πάρα
are in different
πολύ.
spots, their behaviors are different. This person may be asleep, so you can't talk to them,
Have
but
different
somebody else is
abilities.
there. Exactly.
Well, The Witcher 3 is my personal favorite game of all time. So, and this is former Witcher 3 developers working on this, and so much of that charm was prevalent there.
The music.
The music, just that soundtrack in the short little snippet we saw there, I felt it.
I love that simple separation between day and night and different things coming with your character.
That's got to be like the coolest part of it.
Yeah, because it's got to probably tailor to your gameplay of like, I got to wait to make this choice during the nighttime versus during the daytime where I can use certain abilities or different combat styles. I love that part of it.
And so I could foresee a run through, like a play style where you're playing only at night for missions, you're just doing stealthy vampire stuff, and you're eating people, or you're drinking blood rather, not eating people, I don't know, maybe it's not a way. But,
Whatever
you know,
you want.
the dark run-through versus, like, the light run-through in the daytime, the vegan run-through. The vegan run-through. Which has one of those vegan
sped run, Don Walker.
Yeah, vegan achievement.
Sponsored by Beyond Meat. The fact that they revealed a little bit about more Brinsis, the Overlord, is also a system.
Yes.
He really talked a lot about systems that they have not spoke on yet at all, and didn't with us either.
Like the edicts. As you go around the world trying to find your information, you can side with different people, and depending on what you do, you can make the Brensis quite upset. So he can start making laws and rules to stop you from progressing in a certain way.
I also like that Brensis as an antagonist is not just like pure evil, doing all sorts of horrible stuff. Like he is helping the people in some ways in order to, you know, get control of them, but he's like curing them of the plague. Like he offers them something they aren't getting elsewhere. So he's doing bad stuff, but there's nuance.
And that typically makes for really, really good stories.
Harder choices to be made,
perspective, and never a clear-cut good or bad.
Yeah, because I bet you there's gonna be a moment where it's
It's
like
one
you
of
could
the
stop
charms.
it, like his influence in
Αυτό
an
είναι
area.
που δεν γουστάρω.
That means they're gonna die of the
Μιλάνε
plague. So,
πολύ.
like, do you let the bad guy do the thing that you're trying to stop him to do?
Μιλάνε
or-
πάρα πολύ.
And it's also about perspective. These people were ruled by a very tyrannical leader before. So even though Brent is a vampire to them, he
Maybe
may as
it's
well
worth it.
be a
Yeah.
savior, right?
Go way back, beautiful light.
For the next section, we have 3, again, I'm gonna have to not say incredible games every single time, but we have Prologue, Go Way Back from Player Unknown, Beautiful Light from Deep Worlds, and Project Shadowglass from Starhelm Studios.
It's just an infinite map generator with some game loops on top of it. So you have a survival loop, which is pretty hard. Get to the weather tower, we give you a map and a compass and not much else. Some basic survival mechanics, and it's a game against yourself more than anything else and kind of the decisions you make. Then we also have just Objective Survive, which is just see how long you can last in the world, and Free Roam for those that just like a hike. The differentiator, or the thing that makes a difference, is that
Εγώ
we can
ήθελα μετά, ρε
generate
παιδιά, να βάλω και να παίξω
essentially
και
infinite
λίγο ARP
maps
μετά από
of
αυτό
8x8
το
scale. Like, we
Αλλά
have a
είναι
map
πολύ
editor in the game
μεγάλο.
and stuff like that, but we want to be able to give you the ability to give a deep link to someone, so I can just send you like a HTTP link that starts up the game, loads a map and a seed, and I can share stuff I've built with you with just
Είναι
a link.
πολύ μεγάλο.
So it's kind of
Βέβαια, ποιο
going
είναι
back
το
is just
καλό με
it's
το
a
show αυτό,
technological
ότι φαίνεται
experiment that, or proving some technology we've developed. It's no longer an
γνήσιο
experiment,
show.
it's a
Με
production,
την
so it
έννοια
works.
ότι
But it's also going back to my
δεν
love of
έχει να
survival
κάνει
games
με
and those kind
διαφημίσεις,
of
δεν έχει να κάνει με τις
emergent,
μαλακίες του
just,
Τζεφκίλη.
I'm not giving anyone missions to do. It's
Μιλάνε
just
με τους
get there,
developers και τους
and how
ρωτάνε
you
για
get
τα
there is fully up
games.
to you. Basically, if you play the same
Αυτό
seed,
είναι που μου
you get the
αρέσει
same
αυτό το
weather, I'm
show.
pretty sure you get the same cabin layout, and you maybe get the same loot. So you and 4 friends could technically race to the weather tower and see who gets there first, because you have the same conditions. And while we don't have multiplayer yet, you have this kind of asynchronous multiplayer that, as long as you can share the seed with people. And I thought, wouldn't that be a cool thing for events where you have 16 streamers
Δεν είναι
and see how long they can
τηλεοπτικό.
survive
Δεν
in
με
objective
ενδιαφέρει
survive
αυτό.
mode, right? Or see who can race to the weather tower quickest, or we can set
Και
up the
αν
weather
δεν
just to
είναι
get progressively
ακόμα
colder and
τηλεοπτικό,
see who
ίσως να
lasts the
γίνει.
longest. There's a weather tower on top of one of the higher points on the map. It's generally the other side of the map. We do have prompts now that tell you what to do in the world. But yeah, there's some simple survival mechanics. Keep yourself warm, keep yourself dry, light fires, board up windows, keep your body in a good temperature, get across the map. And we don't tell you where you are on the map, except when you find a new map in the world and it updates your position,
είναι σε
you're
ένα
left
όχι το
for
κοινό,
basic
ναι.
navigation. It's kind of set in the 80s, so you don't have digital GPS, stuff like that. I want to make sure that the
Είναι
worlds we
ωραίο το
generate
στυλ
have
αυτό που
enough depth
έχουν
that when we
Κώστα.
add story and mission and quest-based
Είναι πιο ωραίο από το
content,
στυλ του
that the worlds
Τζεφκίλη.
feel like coherent and real enough that it makes sense. Like,
Και
I
αν
want to have
καταφέρουν και το
pathing.
κάνουν στο
I want to
μέλλον
have, like
τηλεοπτικό.
infrastructure, like telephone lines, this kind of stuff. So the cabins aren't just random cabins in the forest. That there seems to be some, like, you know, logical placement of stuff in the world. And once we have those in, then we can more easily go, well, okay, you need to connect all the substations to bring power to the weather tower so you can get a message or go and do various things. Right now, there's a bunch of cabins, and there's survival mechanics, but we want to add a lot more depth to the environment. Preface is a tech demo. That I always said I wanted to release a free tech demo of the engine we're building, and that's what Preface is. And the kind of poetic thing is that my last game will be Preface, because it'll just be a visualization of what's possible with our engine at that time. And it's more like Minecraft Survival, that it's an example of what you can do with the engine, and it'll be open source and free for everyone, so you can do whatever you want. So having this kind of digital space, like an internet in 3D, I don't see anyone working towards that. I see small bubbles, but I don't see anyone really trying to do Earth-scale terrain with millions of people. And that's kind of the bigger goal, and that's why we've broken it down into 3 games. The aim is that you should be able to do anything from 10 by 10 to 100 by 100 with 5v5 or 100 v 100 relatively easily and not have any problems. We will build maybe an Earth-scale terrain, maybe smaller, with hopefully a network layer that supports millions of people. That will be kind of a survival civilization MMO type game. But again, that's just one layer of the world. Like, I want you to be able to just jump around the world and see what's happening, because you should be able to, like, I think if you want to interact with the world, there should be a layer of survival you have to do, or a layer of gameplay in order to kind of leave your impression on the world.
Quebec Charlie to Quebec Romeo Foxtrot. We got your location report. We are monitoring you in the operation zone. Good luck. Over.
Oh shit. Α, είναι λες σαν... Μάλακα, όλοι αντιγράφουνε το ARK. Ωχ, δεινόσαυρος. Μίξη ARK με Resident Evil, παιδιά. Παιδιά, είναι παιχνίδι στυλ ARK, αλλά με Resident Evil vibes. Παράξενο μου φαίνεται πάντως. What, πήγε να τους πάρει το ελικόπτερο και πέθανε αυτός. Beautiful light.
In a world where pixels were once
Δεν θέλω άλλα pixels, δώστε μου κανονικά γραφικά. Pixels έπαιζα το 1990.
I'm just with you. I'm Dominic John, the dev behind Project Shadowglass, a 3D pixelated RPG that's a love letter to classic immersive sims like Thief and System Shock. This video is a series of prototype rooms that I've been working on some of the core systems in. No art, no assets will be generated by AI. This is all human-made, hand-placed, made by me and artists like me because we love what we do.
La 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 la. Αλλά και πάλι δεν μπορώ, παιδί μου, τα pixelated τόσο.
Headphones, I would highly suggest wearing them. All the audio in Project Shadowglass is going to be 3D, and not just 3D, but simulated. The music emanating from this orb is going into the left ear and the right ear, but as I change the size of the space, you can hear the character of the sounds change.
Παιδιά, δεν ξέρω αν παίρνουμε πιο πολλά άτομα, επειδή έχω βάλει κάποια νέα tags.
And if we go around the wall, we can still hear it coming from the opening.
Παράξενο, δεν με χαλάει πάντως.
In each ear.
Ο Ντέναμος έχει physics. Εντάξει, τα παίρνω λίγο τα λόγια μου πίσω. Μπορεί να είναι κάτι καλό αυτό. Γεια σου καλέ μου Θεσσαλονίκη.
Ideas or suggestions or just want to follow along, feel free to wishlist Project Shadowglass on Steam. I hope you enjoyed this sneak peek on how things are coming along. Thank you so much, all the crew at Newgame Plus for having me. Be well, my friends.
Και να πω κάτι άλλο που είναι ξεχωριστό σχετικά με αυτό το show.
To start with,
Ήτανε,
Prologue, Go Way Back, another survival game that we're seeing, and we were talking, it's a bare-bones survival game where there is no common enemy, your enemy is the elements.
Κοίτα να δεις ποιο είναι το καλό πιστεύω με το show αυτό, και είναι το εξής. Επίσης είναι όταν είχε γίνει τα video game, τα awards, το νούμερο ένα παράπονο παιδιά ήτανε ότι είχαν βγει οι developers στο Twitter και παραπονιόντουσαν για τα πόσα λεφτά ζητούσε ο Jeff Keighley για να δείξει για να δείξει τα games του στα show του και αυτά. Οπότε μ' αρέσει που αυτό εδώ πέρα έχει τους developers να μιλάνε για τα games τα οποία κάνουν ελεύθερα κατά μία έννοια, έτσι. Και όντως φαίνεται ότι έχουν ένα πάθος για αυτό το οποίο κάνουν. Και ότι έχουν την ευκαιρία να δείξουν το game τους δίχως να χρειαστεί να δώσουν στο Jeff τον μπυροκύλι μία περιουσία.
Next game we talked about was Beautiful Light by Deep Worlds SA. That's a PvPvE tactical extraction shooter. There are 6 3-person squads, and there's also a lot of anomalies.
6 3-person squads. Άρα 18 άτομα σε ένα map.
Looks very scary.
I mean, I appreciated that it was very immersive. Like he had the sort of Pip-Boy looking thing over there.
Yeah.
And speaking of big words, I actually looked up what that's called. It's called diegetic UI.
Oh, did you say diegetic?
Diegetic.
Thinking the same.
Diegetic. Write that one down.
We're all thinking of that word.
But it's really, really cool in games like this, especially because it's like hyper immersive. Yeah. There's no UI popping up being like, oh, attack incoming. It's just no, you are in the moment, you're in the game. Listen around you, look at the thing on the character itself.
So you can play as a monster or as
somebody
soldier. Is there controller support?
I don't know. Great question.
The Alade she just threw up in her mouth.
I have nothing against controllers, but I believe there's a right time for mouse and keyboard and a right time for keyboards. And he believes that the right time for a controller is when you're playing shooter games. It's obviously better than mouse and keyboard is better for that. But not for him.
I would edit my own YouTube videos with a controller.
Yeah, he said that earlier.
That's how passionate.
Which is a patently insane thing to say.
Yeah, then we have Project Shadowglass.
Voxel art. I really enjoyed the
This is Starhelm Studios. It's an immersive sim. We've all seen it. I think it went viral from that AI post. There was like an AI post that looked just like it, and then he was like, I'm making a game like this. It's not AI.
I looked up the video because he has a YouTube channel where you can actually see kind of behind the scenes. And when that clip of the AI generated art went viral, he saw it and thought like, I didn't think anybody wanted this. I was just like, it was a fun side project. And then he saw people wanted it and thought it looked awesome, and he put it out, but it's real.
Well, we talked about it earlier, you know, there's a desire for stuff like that, more simplicity, kind of retro feel.
It feels like the game is still like learning what it wants to be. Like he's working on the graphics, the basics, the music, and as like they have a bow and an arrow, and hopefully as they work on the project, they start feeling what it will grow to be, what kind of game it will develop itself into.
Yeah, my understanding is right now it is just Project Shadowglass, and it's going to eventually become like a video game, but right now it's just kind of proof of concept that the art works, the crazy math behind it works, and like it can grow to a game, but it's certainly.
Παιδιά, κάντε like ρε παιδιά.
Yeah, he seems like
because it seems like I just love a good passion project. You can tell there's a lot of heart in that.
And I feel like I initially, like everyone else, why I went so viral, I got attached to that same artwork, but then when he further explains and shows you some concepts that you weren't expecting out of a game with that artwork or that design, when he's showing that you said the R6 lean in there. And you,
oh yeah, that threw me off. The little bow behind. I was like, is that a Rainbow Six Siege?
You threw that in there, and then of course they got the wall grapple, and then with the whole audio design as well. I mean, I'm definitely.
I remember seeing that clip that went viral. I remember seeing it. I was like, wow, that looks incredible. Like walking up to the castle.
This section we have three
φτάνει το Osiris. Παιδιά, το Osiris είναι γαμάτο. Ναι, το νέο το emoji. Στο νέο το emoji, παιδιά να πω, στο νέο το emoji, η φάτσα που βλέπετε είναι του αγαπητού του Νίκου Ντελιακού. Oh yes. Και αυτό μου φαίνεται τρομερά ενδιαφέρον, παιδιά.
My name is Amin Bouafa. I'm a film music composer, and I am the composer for Aphelion, the video game. I remember having a message from Talal saying that he loved the score of Summit of the Gods, and they are working in a new video game, and inviting me to come to the studio and to meet the team. It was very important for me to understand how the music would be interactive. So how to compose, how to write music that would be interactive, with models, with stems, with separating the different elements, and at the same time, how could the music, how the structure of the music would be an evolving structure. It was very important for me first to have the story of Ariane and Thomas, like that the log line is the story. Both of them, so there is a
είναι δύο χαρακτήρες.
Conveys this emotional relationship between them, and then the frozen aspect of music.
Θα είναι πάρα πολύ ωραίο αυτό, παιδιά.
For me, it was very important first to feel the cold in the music, to feel the wind, to feel the
Μην κοιτάς γεωργάτος, βλέπουμε τα Newgame Plus show.
The Bashir brothers in the
mid-20th
century. For me, it looks like an alien instrument. When you see it, cannot even predict that it's a musical instrument. To play the instrument, you need to get your hands in water, and then rub crystal buttons that are in this metal structure could convey this frozen identity of the score, and at the same time having this magical sense of in the score.
Παναγία μου.
There is a sacred feeling also to this planet. It's a huge planet, but I wanted
Παιδιά, αυτό με ενδιαφέρει πάρα πολύ.
Could also play very soft. The
Πάρα
organ has a
πολύ.
lot of sounds. It could be very soft, it could be very aggressive, it could be large, it could be intimate. For me, it's the planet. The planet could be very welcoming and suddenly very, how to say, very dangerous and very sacred at the same time. So I thought that the organ could be this, could give this majestuous feeling to the score.
Να μπαλακαθά, έχει τρομερή μουσική το game. Παιδιά, και να πω κάτι, αυτό είναι.
I'm so happy to write the music for Aphelion. It's the first time for me to write a video game score.
Θα σας πω μετά,
and it's
sorry.
A lot of fun and a lot of passion.
Ω μαλάκα. Θα είναι και στο Xbox, θα είναι και στο PS5. Παιδιά, αυτό είναι γαμάτο. Δείτε το.
We had some discussions at the early stages of the production, to be honest, whether to go fully class system or something else. And again, we started with sitting down and lining up what are possible ways that the player might perceive the game, the power fantasies, how he can express himself in combat. So he might want to be a sniper, he might want to be a hacker, maybe an engineer, something else. As we designed those playstyles, we thought how to mix it up a bit, how to let player to experiment with what he encounters during the game. So, for example, when he finds a neat shoulder cannon, as we've shown in the announcement trailer, even if he's a sniper, he might want to experiment with that. Why not? It fits the universe, it fits the playstyle. He might want to see how it works. And so we decided why not to give him the possibility to do that. That was the idea behind the playstyle. So playstyle is basically the starting preset that kind of gently guides you towards the certain direction of your power fantasy of how you play the game. At some point, the player will need to commit to his choices. So again, it's an important part of the choices system. If you just can switch everything on the fly, that kind of makes your choices less important. So at some point, you need to stick to particular guns, particular gadgets, and you just build around them. We give you some time to experiment, but you will need to commit. During the character creation, you will have to choose between three major factions, your origin, so you'll be either Belter or Earther or Martian. Facial customization, appearance, you can choose your body type.
So you will be playing as a Pinkwater mercenary with different type of origin that you would create. You will have your sibling with the same, like, identical one. They will look a little bit different because they're their own person, they have their own personality. These events are set during the first 3 books, I think. You will start on Eris and witness basically the events from a different angle. And this part will be to some degree shown in your character creation.
Every companion should belong somewhere in the universe, and they have their own background consisting of their faction and their acquaintance. They have some background story, their own struggles. All this stuff will influence how they perceive the situations player encounters. So major they will have their opinions. They might hint you towards some decisions. They might provide you some assistance or maybe even some crucial contacts to go for help, for advice, for military support, maybe. Of course, they will have their own stories, their own struggles, and you can choose to help them or maybe to ignore their own stories, totally depending on how you want to be invested in this particular companion. The choices you make for those companions also will matter in long term.
Yep, some of them will have romances, and you can see on our background companions.
Perfect.
We cannot say who is going to have romance, but there will definitely be romance in our game.
It's a small crew on the small ship. You know, the Expanse, it's a universe where everyone flies in very tight spaces for a very long time. So there is a dynamics in the crew as well. We have a few layers of the combat system. First of all, it's obviously the gunplay. A few classes of weapons that you can use, and mostly you do it from the covers, so it's a cover-based gunplay game. And the second layer of the combat system is that's your abilities. That they might be more like offensive ones, maybe something like a grenade or a shoulder cannon, or maybe something more defensive like a shield or maybe a protective drone. A lot of gadgets that you can choose from depending on your play style. And as Julia mentioned, there are some play styles that are mostly focused on using your gadgets rather than using your weapons. Third layer, but still very important, that's obviously your companions. They have their impact on the combat. They have what we call combat opportunities. That's particular situations when you can order your companion to use an exploit in the arena, in the environment to gain a certain advantage in combat. We decided against the management, the gameplay part of the survival stuff. So you won't be counting your gallons of reaction mass or how much water you need to recycle before it dries out. Nothing like that. But still, the expansion is very dangerous. So in terms of narrative, the survival will be a part of the game. You will have a tremendous enemy. You will have a lot of very dangerous situations that you will have to get out somehow. There will be a lot of survival in terms of your player experience, just not as a particular mechanic. You will be able to fly around the solar system. You will be able to visit various planets. We mentioned it before that we have Luna, Mars, Ceres, Io, and some other cool places to visit. And some of those places will be like major social hubs where you can just walk around, meet other people, drink at the bar, shop for better equipment and stuff like that. So you will have plenty of places to go and to visit and to look at. The Expanse universe is cruel, and some characters might die because of your choices. Stay tuned for more. We will show more very soon. Have something cooking. I hope you will like it.
Welcome back, Aaron. We trust your flight was smooth.
Oh, what is this? Oh, άλλο γαμάτο λέει.
We have landed you on the outskirts of Genyak Island. Stay alert.
Παιδιά, τις διαφημίσεις τις έχω off. Το πιστεύετε? Έχω τις διαφημίσεις off. Και όμως το YouTube συνεχίζει και σας τις βάζει, ενώ τις έχω off. Όπα! Αυτό που μου θυμίζει Portal.
Sometimes I dream about what's under the ocean. A distant shore, waiting to be explored.
Παιδιά, αυτό φαίνεται ωραίο. Ρε, αυτά δεν τα έδειξα στο show του Jeff Keighley, ρε. Μαλάκα, αυτό φαίνεται ενδιαφέρον. Ναι ρε, ήδη δείχνουμε πάρα πολλά games. Μα να σου πω κάτι, δεν είναι δυνατόν ο Jeff Keighley να κάθεται και να ζητάει $1 εκατομμύριο για να δείξει ένας developer το game του στο show του. Και το show του φέτος, αν το καταλάβατε, τα Video Game τα Awards δεν ήταν τόσο για τα games cafe αυτά, ήταν για το show το οποίο είχε κάνει εκείνος. Το τι είχε εκείνος δείξει στο show του, παιδιά. Είτε το πιστεύετε είτε όχι. Ενώ αυτό εδώ μου αρέσει που δείχνει καθαρά τόπια games, με τους developers να μιλάνε και να λένε και τα σχόλιά τους. Έτσι πρέπει να είναι ένα κανονικό game show, παιδες. Μαλάκα, αυτό είναι πάρα πολύ ωραίο puzzle game. Ακριβώς, ότι άμα είναι να δώσετε το μισό budget στον πυροκύλι, έλεος. Μαλάκα, είναι τρομερό αυτό. Έχει και... Τι είναι αυτό εκεί? Oh my god. Oh. Άι και κακούλιδες. Ωραίο game αυτό. Αυτό το game μου θυμίζει πάρα πολύ Portal. Μου ξυπνάει πολύ έντονα αναμνήσεις από το Portal που είχε βγει στο Steam. Η έλλειψη ανταγωνισμού αυτό κάνει. Να σου πω και από πού το καταλαβαίνω.
Let's start with Aphelion.
My understanding is it's a dual protagonist game, so you'll actually be swapping back and forth as they sort of work together. And I'm sure there's parts where you're separated, parts where maybe you're together, working together.
Very emotional story.
There's so much potential for stories like that. The dual protagonists, seeing it converge in the end.
You know it's going to be an emotional game, especially when they put so much emphasis in the music. I feel like music is a tool to catalyst emotions, so it's definitely something that...
We were actually talking about that earlier today, music and video, and not just video games, and art in general, and media.
Good music changes
a game
everything. From a game being a good game to a memorable game, a game that will stick with you in a long time. So.
Well, and Donut has a pretty storied background when it comes to narrative games. Life is Strange, or like one of my old school favorites, Vampire. Like they try different stuff, weird stuff even sometimes, and so this is exciting to see them doing something
They were
different.
using the super alien music instruments, so...
What was it called?
Όταν βγάζει τόσα λεφτά χωρίς να δείξει πολλά games, γιατί κάθεσαι... Ναι. Αλλά... Και το χειρότερο με τα show του Jeff Keighley, ξέρετε ποιο ήταν? Ότι έδειξε ένα παιχνίδι σε στυλ Fortnite μεσονικό, σε στυλ Apex στο τέλος. Δηλαδή σκέψου πόσα λεφτά παίζει να του έδωσε αυτός ο developer, επειδή ήξεραν ότι το game τους ότι θα πήγαινε άκλαυτο. Σκέψου πόσα λεφτά αυτοί στο τέλος του show του Jeff Keighley κάθισαν και του έδωσαν για να δείξει το game τους. Απίστευτο. Το οποίο θα βγει στις 26 Ιανουαρίου. Αυτό. Και θα πάει άκλαυτο. Παιδιά, μιλάμε ότι το κράζει όλος ο κόσμος. Και σκέψου πόσα λεφτά παίζει να του έδωσαν του Jeff Keighley για να το δείξει στο τέλος, για να καταφέρουν, ξέρεις, και να κάνουν χαμό. Αλλά το game θα πάει άκλαυτο. Αυτή τη στιγμή έχεις ένα Ark Raiders, το οποίο έχει κυριαρχήσει στα πάντα. Δεν πρόκειται, φίλε μου, το game σου να πετύχει. Λείπαμε πάρα πολύ. Για να ακούσουμε εδώ.
It is a third-person action RPG, obviously set in the Expanse universe.
The Expanse is a book and a show, so they are taking inspiration from both, but at the same time, it doesn't require previous knowledge of either for you to be able to enjoy this. In this game, you're going to be living more or less through what happens in the show. However, from a different perspective, from a different side, with your own group of people, with your own environment, that you get to make your own choices.
I think an important thing to frame all of the Expanse game with is that coming from Owlcat, they are a studio that did like Rogue Trader, for example. Their bread and butter is intense, gritty narratives with unbelievable levels of roleplay depth and choice and consequence, complex systems that interweave. And so seeing them go into this, which is of course a third-person cover-based shooter with many RPG mechanics. It's a different road. And I asked him about that in our interview and was like,
how did this happen? Because typically they do sort of an isometric thing. And they just said when we decided we wanted to tackle the Expanse, it required that cinematic flair, and that's what they tackled. And they're doing a phenomenal job. The game looks beautiful.
It looks very interesting to me. It looks kind of like Dead Space meets Gears of War.
Εγώ Raven, εν τω μεταξύ Raven έχω μεγάλη απορία να δω.
The reputation you have with your
Τι θα κάνουν με το...
Because your companions, they told us, will disagree with some of the stuff you do. They'll get upset or...
Το νέο expansion του Starfield, το Starfield 2.0 και καλά, που το λένε, που λένε ότι θα το αλλάξουν το game ριζικά και λένε ότι υπάρχει μεγάλη πιθανότητα αυτό να το δούμε στις 22 του μήνα. Ή λένε ότι στις 22 του μήνα ότι θα κάνουν shadow drop το Fallout 3. Το remake, remaster και αυτά.
It's one of those games like you didn't know you wanted, but then you see it, you're like, oh, that looks like it tickles a part of my brain. Yeah.
Like we've seen versions of it before, but with everything it combines, because it makes everyone think of a different game when you see it. Because we've heard Half-Life, we've heard Portal. I thought of Only Up during some parts of it.
Yeah, it had Only Up.
And other puzzles.
Mirror's Edge a little bit with like the parkouring, wall moving stuff.
See, it makes us think of so many different things at once. So I think it's gonna do.
Just watching some of that gameplay, I could see the rage already.
Oh yeah, the boss.
Oh yeah,
not happening.
Well, and I think it's also really cool that they have boss mechanics, because like you can tell it started with the idea of using magnets to like manipulate the environment, but then they're like, okay, well we could raise the stakes, take it up.
Και θα σου πω και κάτι άλλο σχετικά με το Fallout, παιδιά. Όταν είχε βγει το Fallout 3, το είχα πάρει τότε στο Xbox το 360. Παιδιά, το είχα καραλιώσει, παιδιά. Το είχα καραλιώσει. Δεν μπορείτε να φανταστείτε πόσο έπαιζε αυτό το game. Πόσο πολύ το έπαιζε αυτό το game. Δηλαδή, το είχα ξεσκίσει, παιδιά. Για την εποχή τότε, νόμιζα ότι έπαιζε κάτι το μαγικό. Αλήθεια. Avowed.
Next up, we have two very exciting updates coming from Obsidian, that being some updates for Avowed, as well as Grounded 2. We also got exclusive time with them and had some interviews, which were very exciting.
Expansion για το Avowed, για να δούμε. Το Avowed ήταν καλό, παιδες. Αλλά το θάψανε οι σονάκιδες.
First-person action RPG set in the world of Pillars of Eternity, where the player plays as an envoy sent by the Emperor of Adir to the Living Lands to investigate a mysterious plague that's kind of spreading throughout the lands, causing chaos, and you play as the envoy trying to figure out what's kind of going on down there. Do things that affect it in positive ways, negative ways, or in between type of ways, with that type of choice and consequence. In terms of, the post-launch things we've been supporting on it, like we've gotten a bunch of abilities added to the Ranger and Fighter trees to kind of more fill it out comparatively to the Wizard tree. Aspects about it that are like Arachnophobia mode, that was like a big community requested feature, as well as, changes to progression, improvements there, gear improvements, and as well as bug fixes and crash fixes.
And you can play now.
Καλή θα τα πούμε.
Yeah, we've added different species. The Amauin, Orlins, and Dwarves are now playable.
Αυτό πρέπει να το παίξω από την αρχή.
Decisions we make are revolving around the player community, so we work, really closely with our community management team. We get like a spreadsheet, kind of see what the things that are bubbling.
Ναι, αυτό είναι το θέμα με την Bethesda. Και το πιο κακό είναι, και ξέρεις ποιο είναι και τώρα το πιο κακό. Ότι δεν θέλουν και να αλλάξουν τη μηχανή γραφικών.
Players just were bummed that we didn't include that in the base game. So it really comes down to like the time and what the community wants, and that's kind of how we decide to go about it. Yeah.
We notice like players really role play their characters in the game, so we always want to give them as many options as we can to like customize their features or character, to kind of have this fantasy in this world as they journey through the story. We just wanted to give them as many possible
facial
options
customization
as they can
του game δεν ήταν καθόλου καλό όταν είχε βγει.
They want to make and just make it just their own. Stuff like all the playable races, we discussed it early on in Avowed. It's something both previous Pillars games had. It's a lot of work and a difficult thing to really nail down, especially in Avowed with its parkour systems and its combat mechanics and all the weapon types and stuff like that in the game. Our different races are different sizes, they're different shapes, they're
a very unique game experience when you play as each one of them in a first-person game specifically. So it was something like new to Wrangle for Avowed. We had no time to finish it as we're making Avowed, and now we give it to the players, so it's a more rounded experience compared to the original Pillars games. It should be a whole new way to play the game. If you pick an Orlin or an Amawa, it makes you feel completely different in the world, especially if you use third person or first person. It changes again how you feel and present in this game, so it's pretty awesome that we can finally bring that.
First
Plus allows the player to bring over all their abilities, all their equipable gear. It does reset it back to level 1, so it's not like you're just outright OP basically, but you know, you'll have the end game gear with all its like enchants to be able to just start the new game, as well as we have like modifiers on enemies that kind of, you know, either make them more resistant to some of the elemental types, or, you know, modifiers that make them more resistant to being stun locked or hit reacted. And that kind of gets sprinkled in kind of somewhat randomly throughout that New Game Plus experience to kind of get that added challenge, but also let the player still feel somewhat like they're accumulating their abilities over the course of multiple playthroughs. So.
We notice players like to take photos of their envoys, but it's very difficult in the game. You have to get the camera just right to get a certain distance from the character, or capture the shot in a conversation when you see your character. So this allows you to really get into it and capture some awesome shots or some scary shots, depending which way you're going.
We're super excited to announce that Avowed's finally going to come out to PS5. Pre-orders are going to be live today. You know, keep an eye out on our socials.
Στο PS5.
When the store page is open.
Θα το δοκιμάσω και στο PS5 στάνταρ. Στανταρά. Grounded! Παιδιά, το Grounded ήταν γαμάτο το 2, αλλά ολοφάνερα ήταν μισοτελειωμένο. Έχω μεγάλη απορία να δω.
Survival game. It is set in a gigantic city park. You play as a teenager who has been shrunken to roughly the size of an ant, and you just have to survive.
Ήταν πολύ ωραίο, παιδιά,
in this
το
environment
Grounded 2, αλλά θέλει...
insects that are the size of a bus.
Πάει να γίνει μόνο η εναλλαγή πρώτα και δεν του προσώπου Capcom. Respect, ισχύει.
As you go and gain in power and get over those initial survival challenges, you can sort of get into the story of what has really happened in this park. A number of huge updates planned for the park. This is the first big content update that we have. We've been calling it the winter update. It's really about adding in this next big chunk to the park, and that comes with a lot of things that are very, very exciting for us. With this winter update, which is the community garden, is attached right to that early picnic area. On the map, it's just to the east of it, behind the gigantic statue of Tully and Burgle. This was our opportunity to really start delving into a brand new biome with everything that entailed. You've got a vegetable garden, you've got a greenhouse, and you've got a pumpkin patch. All of these introduce a lot of new and different types of artwork and places for the player to explore. And then, of course, then we need all the insects that go in these areas too. And so a ton of new insects that are in there. As I love to say, all of these insects, you know, you can fight. Maybe they're docile and you can attack them. Many of them are aggressive and will attack you. And regardless, you fight them, learn their tactics, and then eventually turn them into fashionable attire and new weapons.
Going to a new biome, a new area in the park allows us to fully lean into what makes the park unique from the backyard. And for us, that means that mixture of really organic structures as well as that man-made touch, that this was designed by humans at, you know, human level.
Wasps are coming back, which are a lot of fun to fight, but can be kind of annoying. Again, this is a survival game, so excited about those things coming back. Black ants are also coming back too. And like with both of those, you get sets of armor and different weapons.
Ναι, Νικήτα, μετά θέλω να παίξω Ark μετά.
We're more excited about the new creatures that are coming in the garden update though. So we developed
θέλω να πω μετά και να παίξω ο λίγο Ark, αλλά όχι πολύ, παιδιά, έχω πολλή δουλειά με τα βίντεο. Έχω πολλή δουλειά με τα βίντεο. Και θα σας πω, έχω πολλή δουλειά με τα βίντεο, έχω να κάνω πολύ βίντεο edit.
It has its own armor sets, has its own weapon or
Αχ, τι ωραίο armor set.
Based upon it. And then the same thing for earwig. And we actually have two different types of earwig. There's sort of a ranged earwig and a melee earwig that tend to travel around together to thwart the player with their strategic opportunities. Again, you can turn those into armor, of course, turn them into your base furnishings. You can turn them into weapons, and we think they'll offer some exciting and unique combat opportunities.
We really want Grounded 1 players to be excited to see these creatures again, but also to be surprised and delighted by the changes. You know, just like we did in the picnic area, we've revamped the combat. So that means even looking at the old legacy creatures and going, okay, how do we make them a part of the system? How do we make them challenging in this new dance? How can we leverage our systems to make them more interesting? And so hopefully there's a couple of twists coming, even with the old favorites, that will keep veteran players on their toes and will surprise and delight new players.
We have a brand new buggy, the Ladybug buggy, which you'll be able to
τι ωραίο όχημα, πασχαλίτσα, γουστάρω.
Ride around in the yard. And we're pretty excited about all that stuff. Like, I think all of it is coming together just really well.
I think every single Grounded player from Grounded 1 at some point jumped on the Ladybug and let it transport them around. And we often joke that that was the original buggy prototype. And there's something so iconic about the Ladybug and getting on it and wanting to ride it that it felt like an inevitability for us. But what's important for us whenever we do introduce a new buggy is we don't want it to just be another one or just a horse, you know? And so it really boiled down to what can the Ladybuggy bring to the table that the other ones weren't? What can make her stand apart and bring a utility and an experience to the player that the other buggies aren't? How can we carve out her own little niche in the game? She's the tank, she's, you know, the
Grounded είναι σε ένα κήπο.
Get into those really tough fights and withstand those
σε ένα πολύ μεγάλο πάρκο.
And that's where the idea of the water cannon on her back and, you know, players being able
είναι
to
πολύ ωραίο
shoot
παιχνίδι,
at
παιδιά, πολύ ωραίο.
And that ended up, you know, providing a ton of gameplay opportunities and a really unique experience. Being able to shoot down the aerial insects that are often a bit more challenging and a bit more frustrating for players. Well, now you have this, you know, ranged weapon that you can take them down with that feels super satisfying, almost like an anti-air gun. For us, as soon as we crack that, it felt like, okay, there she is. That's her niche. And now it's just about bringing that experience to life and finding moments
θέλω να το ξαναπαίξω ρε αυτό το τώρα.
Experience to really highlight that and let that
πιάσε
shine.
λίστα να το ξαναπαίξω.
So we saw Avowed, great interview that you did over there. We see now that we have Newgame Plus coming, there's a photo mode, new weapon type, changing appearance. There's new character presets, you got new races, which
species,
I'm sure, Lua will have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, they're doing a lot. And I mean, the game, of course, launched earlier this year. Obsidian's been very busy, yeah. And they're doing these free updates now. And so they also are adding Newgame Plus, which adds a whole new reason for you to go back through the game. So the game is coming to PS5.
Yay! We got another one.
We got it.
The Avowed Platinum Trophy was insane.
Here we go. Yeah, but it's coming and it's available for pre-order as of this show going live. So right now, so check it out. And when I talked to them, they were saying how important the community is to them, how they've listened to a lot of their feedback, like adding arachnophobia mode on Grounded.
You say, Luke, if I'm scared of spiders, what do I do?
Yeah, there's arachnophobia mode. But they that's kind of their driving force, is looking at the community, what the community is saying, communicating, like, hey, we'd like more species and more customization options in Character Builder. Okay, we'll do that. And it's just really nice to see them do that. They could put it in a paid package, but they're not. They're just, you know, it's a labor of love, and that's...
I really like how, as you're going to Newgame Plus, you can also change your character's appearance. So you keep some of your skills and stuff, but if you are tired of how your character looks or you want to do something new, try a different race, you can do that by just going to Newgame Plus. You don't need to go back to the beginning.
Ρετζούμ, εντωμεταξύ, αυτό που είπες ότι δεν καταλαβαίνεις το σπαθί σε first person, θα σου πω κάτι, ένα πράγμα με το Avowed. Το καλό με το gameplay του Avowed δεν είναι ότι πολεμάς με το σπαθί. Έχει το καλύτερο spell system που έχεις δει ποτέ σου. Είναι τέλειο. Κάνεις τρομερούς συνδυασμούς με τα spells. σε αυτό το game είναι τρομερό το να είσαι μάγος.
In July, and so this is a major winter update is what they're calling it, and it was heavily requested to have more types of transport, which they're still planning more for the future that people can be excited about, but they always listen to feedback about, you know, should an insect be an enemy? Should an insect be what they call, you know, is it docile or docile? I'm from Iowa.
Whatever you prefer.
Yeah. Different insects can be friendly, some can be enemies, and then of course they can also treat them now as transport as well.
You looked at Luke when you asked.
Well, yeah, I'm not looking at you. And so with this update, they're doing this throughout a lot of the timeline. Like they're going to give you a lot of these big updates, and you're going to be kind of surprised of like when it first released early access, there was still plenty to do. It was a survival game, but if you were a fan of Grounded, the original, you knew they were still going to have a great winter update for you like this. And so they have a lot on their roadmap, but because of the way the game is oddly like scaled down, you know, it's from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like the way it's shrunk down, they have so much they still want to do and will be doing for a long, long time.
Well, and that cricket,
the cricket thing looks
that thing's horrifying. It turns around and like
you're like, wait, what's he doing? What's he doing?
Spreading. I gotta give them credit. Like Obsidian's been so crazy busy. Like the fact that you can put out two pretty sizable games and a bunch of updates for it.
And it seems like they were cooking something huge, right? Because
yeah, they just had Tim Kaine come back out of retirement. He's one of the creators of Fallout back in the day, and he
didn't he also was some of the original creators of Vampire Bloodlines.
I think he did.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
He's kind of a legend of the industry. He in 2020 went and started doing consulting work with Obsidian, but he was, in his words, semi-retired. But he's actually gone back to Obsidian to work full-time in office, moved to the studio on some project that's unannounced, and he said, "Don't bother guessing. You will not guess it." New IP, something crazy. Who knows? But
they weren't trying to throw us off.
It's hard to not see like hope, at least for Fallout stuff, because you know the TV show being excellent and everyone itching for more Fallout. So
Outward 2, το Forsaken Realms. Το Forsaken Realms είναι πολύ ωραίο. Κάτσε λίγο να δεις.
This is going to be Hour 2 from Night Dot Studio, a follow-up to their other survival game, Outward, obviously. We have Varen's Call by Titan Rock, and then we also have Dragon Twin by Draconic Interactive.
Outward is an open world RPG, which for once you're not some kind of special superhero or the last child from a prophecy. You're just a dude or a dudette. And the reason why we are downscaling who the player is because they want to be immersed more than they want to be powerful. And that was the big change in our approach. And we made all of our design decisions to be in alignment with this vision. If you were just a regular person and you wanted to think like a human would, but in a fantasy world, it's when you are aloof, when you're just like, that's not so dangerous, I've done it before, and that's when life just snaps back at you, right? In real life, that's like that. It should be like that in the design as well. So one gigantic thing is the character creation. In Outward 1, like, we had very ugly protagonists and we didn't have a lot of options. You know, you had like 3 skin colors, a handful of faces, a handful of haircuts, and that was it. It feels like really drawing yourself into an RPG. You choose a background, you choose traits, you have a very granular system to modify and customize your character to your liking. One of the big thing is you choose one of 3 starting locations. So as a regular person, what justifies throwing yourself into danger? How do you become an adventurer? Well, we have 3 different quests, depending on which city you choose. So if you are in Simeon's Bastion, you are a homeless person, you're desperate. In Tramontaine, you are a miner and you're trying to like improve your status.
Πολλά games.
In Haboob, you are just a
Κοίταξε, αν αφήγω όλα, περιμένω το GTA 6.
You know, and very mundane situations like you're not special or anything, but something special happens to you, and then you have to live up to the situation.
Πραγμάτα, ονειμούσα,
that is very
Resident Evil 9, Wolverine,
with seasons, and you just go through all that. So it's gonna be winter and then spring and then summer, and does change. Like what kind
Phantom Blade Zero, Tide of Annihilation.
Dual wielding is gigantic. So now you can combine anything that goes in one hand, and that opens up a lot of possibilities. In Outward One, like you had your offhand, you could only have a set amount
Το
of
Beast of
things.
Incarnation επίσης
Now you can just interchange. You can have two shields if you want. It sucks. I don't recommend.
Το Fable, εάν βγει φέτος, Παναγία μου, ίσως και το Forza το Horizon 6.
Visually vibrant. That's going to be something.
Το Starfield, όταν έρθει στο PS5 και άμα το βελτιώσουν πάρα πολλά games.
And all those skill trees have some
Το Witcher 4, ναι, πιστεύω ότι θα είναι γαμάτο. Πιστεύω ότι θα είναι γαμάτο.
You have a maximum of 3 breakthrough points, so there's only 3 skill trees that you can learn from to the maximum of the capabilities. Otherwise, when you have like the first few layers of skills available. One thing we've added are the attribute points, the core stats, so strength, agility, constitution, willpower, intelligence. We added those. We're gonna track a lot of different things that you do. They're all gonna have like different thresholds. So let's say you dodge attacks successfully a certain number of times, you unlock a node that will give you a passive trait and increase your agility. So very small incremental changes. We start with very simple things and it expands us in more and more circles. So you won't be able from the very start to unlock all 3 skill trees just because you have the cash to do it. You will have to have experience. You will need to have practiced the life of danger and Ori to be able to understand, like get to the next level of the skill trees. Other than that, well, I think it's important to note that all 4 regions are new regions. So it's really just completely new environment to explore.
Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into our upcoming action RPG, Varen's Core.
Αυτό είναι
The world
πάρα
of
πολύ
Leda
ωραίο.
is entirely shrouded by darkness on one side, while scorched by endless sun on the other. These incredibly hostile areas are known as the Forsaken Realms, which, as you may have noticed, is the name of the universe we are meticulously crafting. Your first steps within the Forsaken Realms will take you to the Vale of Varen, a city on the brink of collapse, and the first of our narrative-focused adventures. You'll step into the boots of a lone mercenary, seeking to answer Varen's call for aid, and maybe earn some gold and glory along the way. It's clear that Varen needs a hero, and every hero needs a way to slay the countless fantastical beasts.
Raven, ασπίδα και σπαθί, έλα.
Cater to a wide range of playstyles, offering you the freedom to combat the unknown in a variety of ways.
Μαλάκα, φαίνεται πολύ
Whether
ωραίο
you
και αυτό.
prefer to be a nimble-footed archer, flinging fireballs between arrows, or face your foes toe-to-toe as an axe-wielding whirlwind of death, the choice is yours. The game's classless system means you're never locked into playing a specific way. You have the ability to adapt, alter, or completely switch playstyles midway through your adventure. Unlock and spend perk points to obtain new skills and abilities, and level up your mercenary's core stats by gaining character experience. Hidden chests throughout the world will reward you with a range of weapons, armor, and unique trinkets. Some providing unique effects.
Το 007, ελπίζω να βγει καλό, έχω κάποιες ανησυχίες.
The local hamlet of South Vale acts as a hub, a safe space that provides various amenities for you to further develop your character. Use the forge to upgrade the weapons and armor you find throughout the world, and the dismantling bench to deconstruct items.
Φαίνεται πολύ ωραίο. Φαίνεται παλιό, καλό, παραδοσιακό RPG.
Everything from an area of effect freeze attack that stops the enemy in their tracks, to ripping up the ground from underneath their feet with destructive force.
Μου το είπες στην Νικήτα, ναι.
Use the trap making bench to upgrade and unlock new traps and gadgets. A nice complement to your arsenal, allowing you the opportunity to catch your enemies off guard. And finally, the alchemy cauldron. This can be used to custom brew a multitude of mixtures, from replenishing health and restoring
Θα έχει great sword. Είχε, το έδειξε πριν.
These concoctions are sure to aid you on your journey. Okay, great. So you've equipped that shiny new helmet, purchased that slightly overpriced magic spell you always had your eyes on, and upgraded that new polybuster barrel to the volatile variant that has even more boom. You're ready to get back into the fight, but maybe you want a change of pace.
Να το great sword, να το.
Save the city, but heroes need breaks too. Besides, there's a whole world to explore, and quirky characters from all walks of life need your help with their problems.
Then you've come about the job.
Όχι ρε, μια χαρά είμαι.
You might find yourself involved in a murder mystery, helping a local peacekeeper catch the criminal behind the death of her beloved
Κομπλέ
friend.
είμαι φίλε.
Or maybe you're on a mission to rid Varin of the Gnomi scourge that plagues the city. All because a crazy guy in an outhouse called you a hero?
I know the truth!
Maybe we should stick to the main task at hand after all. Varen's Call is soon to release on PC with full controller support, with the aim of releasing on consoles at a later date.
Αυτό θα είναι πολύ ωραίο, Raven.
Inspired by classics like Fable and the Elder Scrolls. So if this sounds like your kind of adventure,
θα είναι πολύ ωραίο, δεν ξέρω, έχει κάτι που μου αρέσει πάρα πολύ.
Stay up to date with us. Until then, we'll see you mercenaries soon.
Αυτό τι είναι? Αυτό τι είναι? Με δράκους. Αυτό είναι, παιδιά, για όσους θέλουν ή είχαν όνειρο να παίξουν, να καβαλήσουν ένα δράκο αφού ήταν το House of the Dragon. Ναι, αυτό είναι κλασικά για όσους βλέπουν το House of the Dragon. Δεν θα πάει για 2020. Θα έχω νέο βίντεο για το GTA 6 την επόμενη εβδομάδα, ελπίζω. Dragon Creator, oh my god. Έλα ρε, oh my god.
First question I had was, how hard is this game going to be? Because the most common question about the original Outward was, okay, this is like, does it have to be so hard?
I actually got to play the game in the alpha version, and I got my ass kicked.
I'm glad.
Deserved.
But it's actually amazing. Like, I actually really enjoyed it because exploring this game felt very rewarding, and there's like a camping system, so you can camp like right outside like the enemy zone, and then you prepare like your weapons and everything to wreck the enemy, because if you don't prepare, oh, you're in trouble.
It's known to be a very, very hardcore survival, and when I was talking to Guillaume, he was like, if you die, it is likely your fault. And we all heard him say, like, it's not hard, but it is demanding, and they always at all times want to live up to those words, which is really awesome. And they will have a pack mule, which he said, of course, Shocker can die if you don't take care of it. But it's, you know, one of the big struggles was with inventory and spacing, along other struggles that players had to really try and, you know, play out this game. Like you were saying earlier, you can't dilly-dally in this game. You have to really know what you're going to do, and eventually you'll get a hang of things. But another big one was dual wielding. So you can dual wield, he says, anything in the game. You can even double shield it up, which he says is not recommended.
You can attack with the shield, it's super close.
He really loves to stress all of these niche things.
Yeah, there's a lot of details.
Like you can sprain your ankle, you can
Oh
perforate a lung.
Trauma.
She has clearly sprained. You can sprain her.
I also got brain damage.
You can have a concussion. It will all impact you, and all of these ailments like take different lengths of time to recover from.
I got a concussion in game as well. It was really tough.
As well.
What were you doing? What were you doing out of game?
It was kind. It was just kind of like a play on, because whenever I told people I got a concussion, brain damage in game, a lot of people in my chat was like in game.
Sounds like the most hardcore of hardcore survivals.
It was really fun, and you can also play with friends, and then things become a lot more bearable.
They've showed the split screen.
Yes, you can play split screen with your friends, and it's really nice. Especially because then, like, you get beaten up, and then your friends get beaten up, and then, you know.
can get digital concussions together.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Forsaken Realms, Baron's Call. We were all sitting here saying it looks incredible.
It looks sick.
Most importantly, controller support. I can play that one.
I was trying to put my finger on what, like, the vibe was, and at the very end of the trailer, they say inspired by games like Fable. They really struck an interesting vibe. It seems like it's got a lot of soul and heart in it.
We've talked about music a lot today. I just want to say that was something I noticed right there. That flute, there's something about a flute. When a flute starts playing in a fantasy game, dude.
When the flute started playing, he was like, oh my God.
I'm ready to go to war.
No, the game looks really nice. It looks very well detailed, and I can't wait to try it.
They angled it that, like, hey, you can do this thing. You can really focus on combat and the main quest line, the main story, but this is also an expansive world where there are a bunch of little side stories where you can go to these individual side characters and, like, help them catch their chicken. Or murder mystery or whatever it is. And I feel like that's what builds out a world and makes it feel more full. So I think it looks great. Third, we had Dragon Twin. I don't even know if we're...
Let's ride!
Dude, you can make your own dragon. There's a correct decorator for your dragon.
Did you see the neck customizer? I mean, like, Jake was like...
To be fair, is very early in production. They're working on all these systems for Dragon Flight, and as they mentioned in the trailer, it's still a work in progress. They're, like, finding the game and what it's gonna be based on funding, Patreon support, things like that. But, I mean, just, like, imagining the vision of a kingdom builder where, like, you're in command of dragons like Khaleesi, like, inject that into my veins. It's another one of those games I didn't know I needed or wanted, but
never even came across your mind. You're like, wait a second.
Then you see it and you're like, of course.
Yeah. Of course I need that.
You know?
I can't wait to see how it progresses, because it already looks amazing.
But they left the combat pretty open-ended. Like, we saw some battle scenes, we saw some light with other dragons maybe fighting, and how that's gonna come into play, I'm really curious
The movement, I mean, you're gonna get some Battlefield pilots.
It's so cinematic.
The cinematic shots you're gonna get with that dragon is gonna be crazy.
Next up, we have some exclusive content coming from Munfish, a comparison of the twins from Atomic Heart, now in the cube, a very exciting game I think we're all looking forward to. And for Atomic Heart, some new screenshots from their DLC number 4. On top of that, there is also Immortal Gates of Pyre that we had an incredible interview with that Jake hosted, where we talk a little bit about the making of the game, the people behind it, and RTS in general.
Oh my god, Atomic Heart. Prestige! Το Atomic Heart καλό. Opa.
Is it recording?
Yeah, it is.
It's in the sky, a giant cube. I can still barely believe it myself. When it showed up, I was in the lab. I didn't even see it. You know, I felt that same fear, though. A terrible sense of my own powerlessness. How did the whole of humanity miss it? And did we actually miss it? What if the cube didn't appear, but revealed itself? What if it was always there, and we've only just started to see it?
Munix. Δεν ήταν το 2 τελικά.
So Immortal Gates of Pyre is an attempt to modernize and make more accessible the RTS genre while simultaneously keeping all of the complexity and the opportunities for mastery that have made RTS so popular over the years. So it's I would refer to it as a Blizzard-style RTS, the fast action, big battles, very tactical, kind of very rapid-fire chess. We realized that RTS, in part because it was dominated by a few big players, never really went through the kind of indie transformational experimentation. Some of the companies that tried to do so did so by stripping away features or losing some of the things that really made RTS great. In the early days, we surveyed a lot of players in both MOBA and RTS communities and found that they really loved the fantasy of commanding an army. RTS, at the end of the day, if you were to strip it all away, is just you're commanding an army, another guy's commanding an army in real time.
Yeah.
Right? Because you get individual unit control, it can be very overwhelming. And because you're also building those units, because you're building a base, because you're having to do so much macroing along with the microing simultaneously, that for most players, it just gets overwhelming and complicated. And so we worked through it kind of line by line, trying to figure out what are the rote tasks, what are the things that players are required to do that are not really decisions, that are more just chores, right? And how do we make more and more of the complexity in the game, but optional, opt-in. We refer to it as opt-in complexity. And then simultaneously, how do we create a world and experiences and game modes that people want to be a part of? We want to take this genre and show people this genre isn't dead. People want this fantasy, they want this experience. A lot of it has to do with things like the UI and the UX, the unit design, and a lot of that opt-in complexity. So, for example, in most RTSs, you always have to be building workers. If you're not building workers, you're falling behind on your economy and you're screwed. The correct move, with very few exceptions, is to build a worker every chance you get. So we made that automated, but have a toggle. If you want it turned off, you can. So if you're trying to do a specific timing attack, you can, but we took that complexity away. One of the other things is how in MOBAs you have a unified command card, right? All of the abilities and castable abilities on your hero are easy to reach. You can hit all of those buttons very quickly on one hand. We redesigned the UI UX to be the same way. So you can select your whole army with one button by default, and then all of the abilities, castable abilities of your army are also on that one unified command card. One of the things that people often tell us is that when they watch our game, it looks like an RTS, but when they play it, it almost plays more like a MOBA in terms of how they're commanding their army. Our early idea was if we bring the top, 10 modders within generally the strategy gaming space, if we bring them all together and we say, if we were to come together and build a game that truly is the next generation of RTS, what does it look like? And that's what we set out to do. The 1v1 or 2v2 PvP experiences, they're similar to StarCraft or a StarCraft 2. You know, maps, we did redesign the maps and we redesigned the mechanics in a way that 2v2 is actually really, really fun. It's a core support gameplay mode. And players, including pro players, have actually really enjoyed doing 2v2 tournaments. But the ultimate goal is to destroy the enemy's town centers, and so it's kind of a tactical back and forth with counters and strategic snipings and using immortal abilities in clever ways. So it's great for mastery and laddering and skill gain. Ultimately, or at least the goal, is to have other PvP modes that are more casual or more playful. Chaos modes, auto battler modes, things like that, where if you just have 10 minutes and you want to have a beer while doing it, and you want to do something that's a bit strategic, but you don't want to get that sweaty, we want to have those experiences too. That's a big part of the target market that we're looking at, is people that like to be challenged mentally, but don't necessarily want to try to do the crazy APM and don't want to get too invested in the competition. We want to do a full grand campaign. The inspiration for how we kind of want, or how we see the ideal campaign, if we can build it, is very similar to Dark Crusade. It's a grand campaign. You can be kind of any of these different factions, and conquering territory and building new and unique stories.
One of the better trailers that I think we all saw back around SGF last year.
Not our new trailer that we're showing with this. Of course, the twin comparison is new, which is very cool to see the twins for the first time in this universe, if you like Atomic Heart. But the trailer itself for the Cube, nothing new.
The potential for that game is like unmatched. It is a crazy concept.
They're so good at cinematics, and also just like the concept of playing a game like that with the map constantly changing, the biomes changing. It like breaks my brain to think about, but in a fun way. I think.
Like different terrains, different weather.
They show that sliding clip where she's sliding, and then as the cube is apparently rotating, we don't know how that mechanic even works with the map.
I'm assuming you can fall off. Like if you fall off the map,
right?
You just that's. I'm sure you're
or get crushed.
And they've taken so many gameplay mechanics already. We saw from that short trailer. You saw wall running. You saw just like traditional gunplay.
The other cool part to me is that it is set in a universe that people have already been a part of.
The world of Atomic Heart's very interesting.
Can you explain it a little bit?
It's kind of like it is Soviet Russia in an alternate timeline where they've mastered robotics, but then there's like evil robots.
And in terms of vibe, it's kind of like Soviet Bioshock. And it's a vibe.
That's a good way to put it.
And what's interesting is that from the original game Atomic Heart, one of the primary things people loved about it were like the boss fights, and then like the outdoor environments and the art direction. And that is just the cube. And then they're adding in this multiplayer component as well with like, it seems like PvE elements with bosses that you'll fight against together as the cube rotates. I can't wait to find out more.
I love how open-ended they are. Munfish, like, we are all curious because we don't know the exact direction they're going and where it could end up. And I was trying to pinpoint like what game I was looking at, because we are gonna flow into Atomic Heart, and I love that tie between those worlds. But I saw a piece of like the finals and the first destructibility and cube movement we saw when the finals first released. There was something about that aesthetic that I also saw, and I was like, okay, now I'm instantly locked back into this.
The DLCs people love. There's already Atomic Heart 1 and 2. This is their fourth and final DLC for Atomic Heart. And when we saw the trailer, we saw the screenshots, it adds new environments and it looks good.
Yeah.
You know? Then the third game on our list with that one was Immortal Gates of Pyre by Sunspear. Jake, you had a great conversation with Ian.
My boy Ian. It's a game that's been in development for a long time. We're gonna probably talk about how it's a group of modders, and so they've hired a lot of modders, and they have that DNA for this game and a lot of the concepts they want to plan out for the future. They've had hands on this for almost 10 years, but they've been working hard on it for about 5 is what they would tell you. And they really want to try and combat, as we all know, like the RTS genre is really hard to get into because
high barrier of entry.
I agree, because it's like you see these games, you know, RTS games, and you're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work on micro, macro, and all those movements per second and whatnot. And they want to try and combat the pillars that have already established themselves in the RTS genre. We know Age of Empires, but we also know StarCraft is the one that people kind of go to. And he was saying they've had these games in the genre that blew up so early on, that it's been hard for companies like this to make a new RTS and survive and branch out and be somewhat unique to what we already have kind of attached to.
I do like that they're kind of emphasizing accessibility because I think it is pretty intimidating for new players. That's why a lot of people don't want to, you know, kind of turn off by it. It's just so overwhelming to look at.
It's awesome. I'm one of the people who haven't played RTS because like I don't want to go against Sweaty Joe who's been playing this his entire life. I have no.
He lives.
Yeah, I don't have any clue how to do it.
I live for macro movements,
This
bro.
is cool. And then you can have the sweaty experience if you want, or you can have the experience where you just sit at home and have a beer.
I did when he said that. I was like, that's my guy.
Exactly.
This game was made for.
But I do want to really support him, and you know, when it comes to cracking through whatever the current, you know, the current stereotype in that genre is, they're trying to innovate, they're trying to do things differently. And one last thing, they are very, very community focused. So, like a lot of the devs we've spoken to, they love their community, they found their diehards, and it really has shaped the project. And so I hope we see it in the near future.
Next up, we have what I'm calling kind of a Western section. We have some new footage from the game X-Killer. That's going to be Paradark Studio. There's Far Far West from Evil Raptor and Erosion from Plot Twist.
Αυτό με το... αυτό ωραίο φαίνεται.
Welcome to the world of Execular. We are Kasia and Amadeus, the creators of the game.
And this is Gameplay Overview. Execular is a first-person action-adventure game that encourages exploration, rewards curiosity,
and never holds
Oh my
your
god!
hand.
You play as Denzel Phoenix, an Execular, a corporate bounty hunter.
Execulars
Oh my
hunt
god.
down fugitives and reclaim souls from those who try to escape the system.
One of the game's main hubs is the Tower, a massive fortress city ruled by the Helion Corporation. This is where you accept contracts, upgrade your gear, and prepare for missions.
Job well done, contract fulfilled.
The game is structured in chapters, and almost everyone begins and ends in the tower.
Outside the tower lies a harsh, scorched desert. You travel through it in a heavily modified car designed to protect you from extreme conditions such as heat and radiation. Inside the vehicle, you have access to your computer, storage, and a working radio.
From your...
Γαμάτο που φαίνεται αυτό. Γαμάτο.
Survival is a core part of the experience.
Inventory space is limited, and every item matters, forcing players to make careful decisions about what to carry and what to leave behind.
Helion's high-tech systems allow you to hack devices, pick locks, and access restricted areas.
Your cybernetic implants help you uncover hidden elements and investigate the environment. Missions and level design are fully non-linear. There's no single way to complete a contract. Stealth, dialogue, and combat are all valid approaches.
Δεν με χαλάει καθόλου το first person.
In Execular, every decision matters.
What's it gonna be? Plata or muerte?
Γαμάτο φαίνεται αυτό.
Execular on Steam.
Hi everyone, Robert here from Fireshine Games. I am the Senior Product Manager for Far Far West, developed by the incredible 6-person team at Evil Raptor. Far Far West is a 1-to-4 player co-op PvE first-person shooter where you play as robot cowboys in a weird western world. Work together to kill bosses, collect bounties, and cleanse the lands of the evil enemy invaders. Today, I'm going to talk you through a short, single-round session of Far Far West. Here, we're exploring the Far Far West hometown, an evolving space where you can upgrade your weapons, spells, and characters. Once the team is geared up and ready to go, we can pick the bounty we want to hunt and drop into the game. Now that we have dropped into the map, it is time to head to our first objective. We can travel around the map much faster with the use of our trusty horses, which you can summon with the press of a button. When fighting enemies, I can use different firearms and a variety of spells to do damage or heal myself and teammates. Spells and guns can also be comboed together to make their effects more powerful, spread their damage further, or even create new spells.
Κάστερ, αυτό είναι VR.
To summon this boss, we need to do the obvious. Launch a nuke at its nest. So let's get this rocket loaded with explosives and shoot it into the sky. When playing co-op, you have to work together as a team to complete the objectives and defend yourself from enemy attacks. Right now, we're throwing sticks of dynamite to my teammate for him to put in the rocket, of which he is actually only catching a few. While carrying out objectives, you will attract the attention of the enemy hordes, who will try and stop you. Now we have the rocket all powered up, let's launch it at the boss nest to really make it angry. This bounty is far from over. Now we have to take the beast down. Let's summon the boss and get this party started. We won and the boss is dead, but we aren't safe yet. So let's get to the station to get the last train out of town.
Βγάζετε παιδιά πολλά παιχνίδια τα οποία μοιάζουν με το ARK.
Which is easier said than done when the whole of the far west wants you dead.
Βγάζονται πολλά extraction games.
Well, some of us. Which means we get to keep the resources we found along the way. These will allow us to upgrade our characters even more and be stronger for the next bounty. This was just one simple game of Far Far West. There are multiple bosses, maps, objectives, weapons, spells, upgrades, and cosmetics, all unlockable through play.
Καλό βράδυ, Ήλιο,
you can
καλέ
play
που
the
φίλε.
playtest with your friends right
Το
now.
πούμε αύριο. Αυτό, παιδιά, είναι καθαρά ένα extraction game. Όπα. Όχι πάλι τέτοια γραφικά ρε παιδιά. Πάλι τέτοια γραφικά γαμό, το έχω βαρεθεί αυτό το art style.
You do it or die trying. But even if you kick the bucket, you don't stay dead for long.
Εγώ πιστεύω ότι έχουμε ήδη φύγει από τη μόδα του Battle Royale. Έχουμε ήδη φύγει. Ναι, αλλά έχεις στο τέλος όμως να κάνεις extraction και να φύγεις με το τρένο. Και σίγουρα πρέπει σε αυτό το game να μαζεύεις loot, gear, loot από τα boss. Στάνταρ. Μάλακα δεν μ' αρέσει αυτό το art style το έχουν όλοι δέσει. Διασκεδαστικό φαίνεται βέβαια, αλλά το έχουν γαμίσει με αυτό το art style πια. Όλα για το χρώμα της πατούχας. Τα Battle Royale, παιδιά, έχουν πέσει. Για να καταλάβετε, τα Battle Royale ήταν πάρα πολύ hot το 2017 με το 2021-22, μετά ξεκίνησαν να πέφτουνε.
That's coming from Paradox Studio. It's kind of, I mean, the vibes look great to me. It was reminding me a little bit, you disagreed, but like a cyberpunk in the wild.
No, I just see it.
And the animation work was crazy good, like the world building.
I think the way it's described is a post-apocalyptic Western style FPS with a bounty hunter vibe. And so we even saw in the trailer they were picking up bounties.
Mike, έλα, stop.
So I think it looks like a lot of fun. That could be a new kind of like staple in those types of games, to me at least.
Yeah, it's a great combination. I mean, it looks fantastic. Like, it's stunning. It's coming from such a small
sci-fi
team.
cowboy, I'm in.
Yeah, done.
Say less.
Money.
Then we had Far Far West coming from Evil Raptor, Western-themed action shooter project. The way I've been describing it, to be honest with you, is Western Sea of Thieves. There's a lot of depth there. It looks like, I mean, that's not a bad comparison. Sea of Thieves was very fun to me.
What if Sea of Thieves but cowboys, basically?
Well, it's that, but also with specific hunts and like bounties, we're going out and doing boss fights with each other.
It seems very teamwork based too. Like you saw a clip there where they were fighting the boss on the ground and one of them was up top and your teammate threw the dynamite up, caught it, planted it. That's really cool.
Third on this list, another Western. This game is pretty mind-blowing. I think we're all on the same page for that.
The art style is
Erosion.
divine.
I could see this one being like...
This is going to be a big one.
Yeah, a big one.
Well, like the most compelling aspect of it to me is the time passing affecting not just the world that you're exploring, but also like, literally your daughter. She grows older every death that happens.
I think it's
a decade goes past.
So the worse you are at the game.
If you die 20 times, like she's not gonna be there when you get there. You're gonna be talking to a gravestone. But it's just a very captivating art style, like you
mentioned. It's also open world.
Open world roguelike. Yes.
We're gonna have people that are gonna want to go deathless runs of this. I hope that maybe there's a glimpse of hope of like if you have a deathless run or maybe a one
that's
death
like
run,
the true ending or something.
There's a happy ending, but I imagine that most other endings are not going to be so happy, or at least a bit sadder.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, exciting.
It looks really good.
We're gonna see a lot from that game.
For sure.
Oh my God,
Next up, we have a very exciting section for people who like competitive games, shooter games. We have an awesome interview that Jake did with the executive producer of the Division franchise. We also have Alpha Response, a game coming from the original creator of Counter-Strike, Min Lee, or Gooseman, whatever you know him as, Last Man Sitting from Pixel Pizza, and Sand Raiders of Sophie by Holygriff.
If you imagine a real world location, the most important city in the United States, Washington, D.C., completely ravaged by a pandemic and struck by the strongest, worst blizzard of all time. And you are going to have to survive and extract the most valuable resources. And of course, that leads us to survivors. So what are we doing? Like, we can't rest on our laurels, our 10-year-old laurels from survival. So we're reimagining it. We're bringing this snowstorm, this weather change to Washington, D.C. And that's something that you've never seen in Washington, D.C. We're going to transform the entire map. We're thinking about it in a very different way, with innovations that haven't been seen yet. There's a focus on this to make it such a different feeling experience from the core Division 2 experience. I think we've got something super, super promising here. Survivors is developed with Magnus Jensen, who is the original Division 1 creative director. So this is a guy who lives and breathes the Division. He's so excited about jumping into this type of game mode again. And there is a hint in the title of something that we're going to be doing really differently from everybody else. We always develop with a player in mind, with player types in mind. And I think here we have to acknowledge that the Division 2 has a large player base of passionate gamers. And one of the things
ναι, αλλά να σου πω κάτι σχετικά με το Division, βρε Raven. Έχω παίξει και έχω ξαναπαίξει φτάνει.
Of the Division 2. People are happy to jump in, know their way around the controller, know their way around the map.
Έχω παίξει τη Division και έχω ξαναπαίξει, ωραίο. Είναι πάρα πολύ ωραίο το να παίζει με φίλους, αλλά...
And make sure that the weather has an impact on you, which it doesn't have in Division 2. So there are lots of little things that we're doing to surprise our core audience. Veteran players, they're going to be surprised. All of these locations that they know by heart, they're going to be transformed. So the Division 3 is in production, right? This is not a secret. It's shaping up to be a monster. I can't really say anything more than that. But this is within these walls in Massive. We are working extremely hard on something that I think will be as big an impact as Division 1. There's a team in Paris working on this, and putting the final touches on a mobile
Κάθε φορά που έπαιζα το Division δεν είχα ποτέ πολλά άτομα να με
Division 1, New York, pandemic strikes, take back New York. This is a brand new story with mechanics that are really fine-tuned to a mobile phone. Graphically, this looks like a PS5. You may have seen the adverts for it. It looks phenomenal, really, really good. It plays really good. And it has a few innovations. You know the Dark Zone, this area of atypical PvP. It was an area where, much like other games today, popular games today, you could walk around, you could hear gunshots, go over there, there'd be another agent. You'd approach cautiously, feel each other out, and decide whether to partner or to actually engage in PvP. The whole of the Resurgence map is friendly to other agents. So you'll hear gunshots on a corner. You won't need to be in the Dark Zone. It could be anywhere, and you can group with those people. So PvP is off by default, but being able to group up and to see other agents in the streets, that's never been done in a Division game before, let alone a mobile game.
Oh my god. You. Γραφικά εποχής PlayStation 3. Δεν με τρελαίνει, παιδιά. Είναι ακριβώς σαν να βλέπεις γραφικά PlayStation 3. Είναι ακριβώς έτσι. Και τα όπλα κάνουν πολύ φασαρία. Από εδώ. Είναι σαν να παίζω παιχνίδι από εποχής PS3 ρε μπρο. Πω. Για τον Θεό, ισχύει. Δεν μ' αρέσει καθόλου. Ιου. Φαίνεται πάρα πολύ άθλιο. Αχ, αυτό το θυμάμαι από παλαιότερα. Αυτό το έκανε δείξει και σε show του Jeff Keighley. Τι είναι αυτό, Θεέ μου? Γεια σου, Capital Mad, καλέ μου φίλε, τι κάνεις?
Last Man Sitting is a game where you blast through the environment mounted on an office chair. So you're always on an office chair, and you also have a freaking gun. So movement-wise, it sort of feels a bit like you're skating, but it's also most definitely a shooter.
And you guys also described the game as a battle royale. So does it lean BR? Is it more shooter? Is it a mix of both?
Battle royale.
So many years ago, there's early like prototypes of the game. It was a battle royale game. And it sort of went viral and got like a lot of followings based on some short videos of the game. But then as we developed the game more, we found that we wanted to gravitate away from that a bit. So we saw some limitations with the Battle Royale gameplay. Eventually the game became more like more of a 4-player chaotic PvP shooter, more like a shooter version of Super Smash Bros., which is like one of our favorite games at the office. There's like different maps. There's different modes also. We worked on the PvP mode. We also made a PvE mode, which is more like maybe best compared to Swarm survival games. So it's more like a lightly narrated story where you go up against your manager and you like go up in the floors of an office building. You have to survive for a certain amount of time. There's more and more enemies coming that become more numerous and more ridiculous as time goes by. There's mini bosses, there's main bosses, and you level up, you get power-ups. And this is where like you can get even more power-ups when playing the PvE game mode. So that's when it gets really ridiculous.
Okay.
And you can unlock, of course, new weapons, new characters, new abilities. You can upgrade your chair, so you can.
That was one of my questions. So
we looked a lot at this like early 2000s aesthetic, which we thought was like really cool. Especially like when we started designing the user interface, we felt like, what if the whole user interface just felt like Windows Millennium Edition or Windows XP, and you have that those little square windows, and you have the font that we all remember. So eventually the game sort of became more of this like 2000s nostalgia type game. We also have a lot of like Counter-Strike players at the office. So that's definitely something that I think has had its imprint on the game as well. Imagine it's 2002 and you're listening to punk music and you're playing on your Windows XP computer. That's sort of the feeling that we want the game to have.
Τι είναι αυτό? Α, αυτό μου ψιλοαρέσει. Είναι το... Oh my god.
I say first up, we're going to talk about the Division interview. Of course, we weren't able to get a ton of new information, but they are working on a lot of different projects right now.
I don't know if I've ever talked to anyone else who has 26 years at a single company in gaming. So talking to him, he was, I was doing a bit of glazing because everything he said felt like a storytelling experience. And so we're talking about Survivors, and this is the kind of redone version of Division 1's original Survival. And so it's a snowstorm impacted, weather hit Washington, D.C., and it's what he kind of also alluded to as like one of the original extraction shooter-esque like games. But yeah, you have to fight for survival out and weather the elements. He says it's really, really shaping up. And also original players of Survival are going to experience, he couldn't tell me everything, but they're going to get to experience, you know, remastered things and things that are updated from the original that they did want, but he couldn't tell me too much as to what it was, besides that it's really shaping up and it's really interesting. And both new coming players, you don't have to play Division or Division 2 to stumble across this and love it just as much.
I think with the success, obviously, of games like Arc Raiders right now, you even mentioned that, it's an interesting conversation around, do you try to chase those things and copy stuff, or not even copy, but take inspiration from it, or are you having to come up with your own ideas that you've been working on for 10 years or however long? It's just interesting how they've been working on this for a long time, and now there's a mega popular game in the same exact vein.
Yeah, and he said it a lot more eloquently than I can ever represent it as, but you know, he realizes it's probably a mix of things. Like a lot of other games are doing extraction shooters with certain things here, but they've also had an image of where they want to be and where they want to go for quite some time now, and now they're finally getting to breathe that into existence slowly.
They also talked a little bit about Division 3, which when I say a little bit, I mean like a little bit.
He gave me a quote. He gave me a quote. He gave me a quote. Julian said this. He said, "It's shaping up to be a monster." And I said, I'm gonna clip that, Julian. Thank you very much.
I would say a highly anticipated game that they can't share a lot about, but we were excited just to hear that it's a monster as much as people love these other games. Next up, we had Alpha Response coming from Min Lee.
For anyone who doesn't know Min Lee, the original creator of Counter-Strike, I love this guy. We've had the chance to meet him on a couple occasions, also sit down and talk with him. He went to his first Counter-Strike major this past year. It was an incredibly rare experience to see like such a notorious dev get to see what his game has truly become, and he was there since the very, very beginning. And then to see like an esport develop out of it was crazy. Not to go on too much of a tangent, but he still has that shooter DNA in him, and so this is kind of a mission-based shooter, might you, and you also play as law enforcement, but the goal is to complete a series of missions, and yeah, definitely remains true to the whole shooter gooseman DNA.
It looks like Counter-Strike meets Payday, but you're the good.
Then, speaking of Counter-Strike, we talked to a guy who was highly inspired by Counter-Strike, which is so cool to me to have in the showcase. So like, we have the OG who made this game, then we have a guy who's inspired by that guy. This was Last Man Sitting.
It's so ridiculous, and I love it.
We need games like this.
It feels like a mixture of like Tony Hawk's Skater Pro, but replace the skates with chairs, and
give them all weapons.
And give them some guns, why not?
The clips are going to be insane.
Yeah.
You're going to see some wild stuff come out of this game. The things people are going to be doing.
And they're still working on a lot when it comes to PvP versus PvE, but at the core base of it, they want it to be PvP based. It's going to be a round-based game, and so I believe 4 players. So super competitive lobbies, but I think you can
also a chaotic shoot.
Very, very chaotic, and it progresses round by round. So their unique feature in competitive balancing is it's the first player to win 5 rounds, but if you lose a round, you get a power-up. So you get an ability, and that is their way to balance.
Even the odds a little bit.
You can even upgrade your chair.
Yeah, so by the end, which you can, and by the end it's going to be pretty hectic because of course if everyone takes in their turns and
Όχι, δεν έπρεπε από την αρχή να παίξω κάτι. Αλλά απλά το show τελικά μιλάει πιο πολύ για indies. Νομίζω. Δεν είναι άσχημο show, αλλά για πρώτο show βρε παιδιά κι εσείς που κάνετε το show, όχι και 3 ώρες. Εγώ δεν θέλω να κρατήσω άλλη 1 ώρα. Εγώ θέλω να πάω και να παίξω Ark. Δεν θέλω να κρατήσω και να παίξω άλλη 1 ώρα αυτό το... να κρατήσω και να δω άλλη 1 ώρα αυτό το πράγμα, γιατί τι άλλο έχουν να πούνε. Έχουν να πούνε τίποτα άλλο.
Then finally, in that section, we had Sand Raiders of Sophie. The developer is Holygriff as well as Tower House, but the publisher is Tiny Build, who we're all very familiar with. This is a co-op action adventure. You're in a desert world. Honestly, it reminded me of another. I don't remember it. They were like sailing in the desert in some other game, but this. My favorite part about this is that you could see them building your ship. That you're then like traversing the desert and
kind of like
fighting
a base
people.
building.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of reminded me of Sea of Thieves meets Base Builder, Rust, where you're like, yeah, you're building your own ship.
Ωραία, Σάκη, αυτό το show είναι το Newgame Plus. Ένα νέο show όπου δείχνουν διάφορα games εδώ. Και το βλέπουμε εδώ και 2 ώρες, 2,5 ώρες, Παναγία μου. Πω πω ρε, πως είναι μία και πάει 2.
Or fans of different types of games. Like, okay, what if we make a moving base in the desert, and then you can explode people's bases? Or I'm curious. We didn't see it in the trailer. I'm curious if you can raid other people's bases.
Αλλού σχολείο, ρε παιδί μου, αλλά εντάξει, έχω κουραστεί. Και έχω και δουλειά να κάνω αύριο.
Next up, we have a section that a couple of us are definitely going to be very excited about. This is the 25th year that Jagex has been making RuneScape at this point, which is extremely impressive. I know Jake and I have been playing it our entire lives. We've got old school RuneScape, we've got RuneScape 3, and we have Dragon Wilds. The Trinity! Right, so 3 games, massive games that have been around for a long time, a lot of people have heard of.
I think we should just give the room to Jake.
Αύριο όχι, στην παιδιά έχω να κάνω πολλή δουλειά με video edit. Έχω να ετοιμάσω 2 βίντεο και δεν ξέρω αν θα προλάβω καν κιόλας, παιδιά. Έχω να ετοιμάσω 2 βίντεο, να κάνω λήψη για ένα unboxing βίντεο που χρωστάω και να κάνω βίντεο edit σε ένα άλλο βίντεο. Έχω πολλή δουλειά με τα βίντεο. Γενικά τους τελευταίους μήνες έχω δουλειά με τα βίντεο συνέχεια. Λέω στον εαυτό μου, ρε παιδί μου, ξέρεις, λέω στον εαυτό μου, βρε παιδί μου, να καθίσω και να κάνω stream άνετα. Και δεν κάνω stream άνετα, εδώ και μήνες. Αλλά είναι καλό άμα έχεις να κάνεις βίντεο, γιατί τα βίντεο είναι αυτά που σου κρατάνε για το κανάλι όρθιο. Εκείνο με την ταυτότητα θα το κάνεις βίντεο. Μα και αυτό είναι που θέλω να το κάνω βίντεο. Και αυτά τα πράγματα είναι που θέλω να τα κάνω βίντεο. Και δεν έχω χρόνο. Δεν προλαβαίνω. Και RuneScape. Κάτσε λίγο, αυτό τι είναι. Είναι πολλά πράγματα που θέλω να καθίσω και να κάνω βίντεο, αλλά παιδιά δεν προλαβαίνω να τα κάνω όλα. Και θέλω να αγοράσω ένα AI το οποίο ονομάζεται όπως Clips. Ένα break από τα streams για να τα προλάβεις. Ισχύει, ναι. Εν τέλει αυτό πρέπει να γίνει αυτό. Είναι αναγκαίο αυτό. Πλάκα στη πλάκα. Έχεις δίκιο. Αλλά από την άλλη να σου πω κάτι. Γουστάρω να τα κάνω streams γιατί είναι και η ψυχοθεραπεία μου. Γουστάρω πάρα πολύ το να έρχομαι στο stream, το να μιλάμε, το να συζητάμε, το να παίζουμε games. Αυτό για μένα αυτό είναι το ωραίο κομμάτι του καναλιού μου, καταλαβαίνεις. Αυτό είναι το ωραίο κομμάτι του καναλιού μου, εκτός από τα βίντεο. Αλλά απλώς το βίντεο είναι λίγο, έχω φτάσει σε μια φάση που προτιμώ να κάθομαι και να κάνω stream πιο πολύ από οτιδήποτε άλλο. Βέβαια και τα βίντεο είναι αναγκαία. Αλλά δηλαδή λέω στον εαυτό μου, εύχομαι να είχα... Ναι, είναι τρομερό το συναίσθημα αυτό. Και εύχομαι να είχα έναν δεύτερο Ηλία, ο οποίος να καθόταν και να έκανε τα βίντεο και εγώ να καθόμουν και να έκανα τα streams. Αυτό θα ήταν το ιδανικό για το κανάλι. Δηλαδή το κανάλι, έχω καθίσει και το έχω καταλάβει. Εάν θέλει το κανάλι να ανεβεί παραπάνω, χρειάζεται ένα δεύτερο άτομο να κάθεται και να δουλεύει στο κανάλι, παιδες. Και πλέον πολλά πετυχημένα κανάλια τα οποία βλέπετε έχουν δεύτερο. Ναι, και ένα πράγμα, παιδιά, το οποίο. Αυτό που έλεγα. Όλα τα πετυχημένα τα κανάλια τα οποία που βλέπετε εκεί έξω, στάνταρ υπάρχει ένα δεύτερο και ένα τρίτο άτομο από πίσω που κάνει τα βίντεο edit, παιδες. Στάνταρ. Δηλαδή για να ανέβει το κανάλι μου μέσα στο 26, πρέπει όχι μόνο να κάνω stream, αλλά πρέπει να κάνω και πιο πολλά βίντεο. Αλλά είναι δύσκολο. Είναι πολύ δύσκολο αυτό. Είναι πολύ δύσκολο, δηλαδή όλα τα πετυχημένα τα κανάλια που βλέπετε, ας πούμε η joystick είναι 5-6 άτομα και τους βλέπω και αναβάζονται συνέχεια και βίντεο short και βίντεο κανονικά και κάνουν και τα live τα οποία κάνουν. Λοιπόν, αλλά εγώ είμαι μόνο εγώ.
Is something that, as a player myself of RuneScape for 23 years, I am so excited. I mean, I think the game right now, old school RuneScape, is in the best place it's ever been. But Jagex as a company is turning into potentially being the best they have ever actually been. In 2025, over old school RuneScape, we didn't just have many different pieces of content such as sailing.
Ρε φίλε, έχεις εικονίδιο του Cyberpunk. Έχεις εικονίδιο του... Το εικονίδιο σου είναι το εικονίδιο του Cyberpunk.
It's absolutely incredible. But that is not the end. We still have 2026 to come, and the things that are coming in 2026.
Πόσα λεφτά βγάζουν, δεν ξέρω, παιδιά. Παιδιά, δεν έχω την παραμικρή ιδέα. Αλλά εάν σκεφτείς ότι η joystick, ότι εγώ για το member, παιδιά, το minimum που χρεώνω είναι 2 ευρώ, έτσι. Είναι 2 ευρώ. Η joystick ήταν 25 ευρώ member.
All I can say, that's all I know right now. But League 6 will be coming most likely in Q4 of 2026.
Ναι, εντάξει.
I do not know. But that means League 6 may contain Blood Moon
Απληστία.
Sorry. Inside of whatever League 6 is going to be.
Τουλάχιστον ανταμείβεσαι σε αυτό που κάνεις. Όχι, παιδιά, φέτος. Όχι, παιδιά, πρέπει φέτος κάτι να κάνω, γιατί δεν γίνεται, παιδιά. Δεν ξέρω πώς. Μακάρι να είχα έναν δεύτερο Ηλία και να έκανε το video edit, αλλά δεν μπορώ να τον κλωνοποιήσω τον εαυτό μου ακόμα. Ναι, μα δεν είναι δυνατόν το να χρεώνεις 25 ευρώ για να κάνεις μέρο και πρόσεξε, 25 ευρώ για να σου απαντήσουν στα μηνύματα που τους στέλνεις. Θες να σου απαντάμε στα μηνύματα τα οποία μας στέλνεις? Θες να σου δώσουμε απαντήσεις, ερωτήσεις? Θα μας δώσεις οι 25 ευρώ το μήνα. Και εγώ, ρε μπρο, απαντάω. Εδώ, κάθομαι και απαντάω εδώ στο chat σε μηνύματα που μου στέλνετε στα social. Άσχετοι άλλοι χρήστες που μου στέλνουν μηνύματα, κάθομαι και τους απαντάω. Απαντάω και σε comments, απαντάω και το άλλο. Και εσύ, ρε μπρο, ζητάς 25 ευρώ το μήνα για να σου μιλήσουνε. Ποιος είσαι, ρε μπρο, για να σου μιλήσουνε και ζητάς 25 ευρώ το μήνα? Δεν θα σχολιάσω το τι είναι ο καθένας και το τι κάνει ο καθένας, παιδιά. Αλλά εντάξει, υπάρχει, ναι, δεν. Και η παρέα που έχεις δημιουργήσει είναι τρομερή και το και thank you, ρε παιδιά, thank you. Κάνω ό,τι μπορώ με τις δυνάμεις τις οποίες έχω. Σαν OnlyFans σου ακούγεται? Όχι, δεν είναι OnlyFans. Τι είναι αυτό, Παναγία μου? είναι αυτό ρε παιδιά? Φουτουρίστικος υπότης με όπλο. Μαλάκα μου, τι βλέπουνε τα μάτια μου? Αυτό παιδιά είναι σε στυλ Resident Evil, αλλά περίμενε. Δεν μπορώ να καταλάβω τι show game είναι αυτό. Είναι Diablo σε third person αυτό. Και έχει και χάγια frame rates. Παράξενο. Weird. Και τώρα τα άτομα έπεσαν στα 60. Πάνε τα 250 άτομα. Παιδιά, νομίζω ότι μπαίνει κάποιος στο stream και το βλέπει το stream και κάτι συμβαίνει αυτός που μπαίνει στο stream και το βλέπει το stream και αυξάνονται τα άτομα του stream. Δεν με χαλάει. Dark Light Servivore. Τι είναι αυτό, Θεέ μου? Καλή Οδυσσέα Ιωακήμ. Γιατί πάλι έχουμε σκατά γραφικά, Θεέ μου? Ποιοι εμφανίστηκαν στο ξαφνικό η joystick? Όχι ρε, αυτοί υπάρχουν εδώ και πάρα πολύ καιρό. Αλλά απλά πρώτα είχαν απλά ένα site και μετά αναβαθμιστήκανε και κάνανε το κανάλι και φέρανε και άλλα άτομα να δουλεύουν στο κανάλι τους και αυτά. Αν θα ήθελα ένα Days Gone 2. Δεν ξέρω. Τι είναι αυτό, Θεέ μου? Students Gaming, καλησπέρα φίλε. Καλά σε είπα, καλά σε είπα.
For eternity, I struggled to become an aspect of courage, freedom, and honor. So much for the glory of angels. Let it in. Let it burn your flesh. Let it burn your soul.
Τι είναι αυτό ρε παιδιά? Oh! Αυτό είναι για τον Raven. Unawake.
First up, we saw Darklight Survivor. Maybe one of the games we've seen that kind of blew our mind a little bit. You had top-down, you had third person, and something else.
Oh, the instantaneous switch, of course, between top-down and third person, but then the pixel art, being able to instantaneously
adapt to.
That's
it's
insane.
really sick.
Yeah, combining both those features, because you said it and I was like, wait, is that what it's doing? I had to.
Yeah, you can sort of like just toggle it.
That's such a crazy.
My understanding.
Such a crazy feature.
So it's a game like a roguelike game.
Yeah.
And a little bit kind of like Vampire Survivors in the style of Megabunk. So you can either have the top-down view, first-person view, whatever you prefer, and you swap all the time. Sick.
I think it's interesting to think about the strategy element of that probably that comes into play, like when you're fighting certain things.
Yeah, maybe some bosses.
Maybe if you're seeing a
useful
boss.
Because on the surface, it seems like it's just like it's a personal preference thing, but it might actually have its
Ναι,
place
και
in
άλλα
like the
45
gameplay.
λεπτά.
Like if you're in a certain situation, like, I should go top down.
Or maybe
real quick.
depending the skill
μισή.
that you use.
Yeah, because you may think that it's just like a gimmick for a different viewpoint or filter or whatever, but the idea that you could use it tactically as a gameplay mechanic too is really cool.
Aiming for early access in late Q1 of 2026. They already have a demo out that a lot of people have played, and we've said this a lot of times. One of my favorite parts about these devs already is that they have listened to their players who have played the demo. They made it a point to tell us, like, we've made 6 patches in the demo based on player feedback, and I think that's super important, especially for a game that looks as good as this, because it can be a lot of fun. You know, roguelike survival with mechanics we've never seen before, as far as I'm aware, so it should be fun. Next up, we had Tape 101, a game that's probably too scary for Jake to play. If I had to,
I had to literally cradle him while we were watching that. I thought he was gonna.
All these
cry.
things are true. Yeah, you guys know me so well.
What I appreciated about it is it's not a jump scare game.
Yeah, they've stressed they don't want to do jump scares. It's specifically psychological, mind melty, unnerving horror.
You will not have jump scares, but you will have nightmares.
You know, the thing is, that sounds like something that a developer of a game that has jump scares in it would say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no jump scares.
Yeah, there's.
You said they sound like my chat anytime I play a scary game. No,
I feel like you just have trust issues because of unresolved problems.
You're 20 hours in, that's when you're gonna finally see the jump scare, and it's gonna be one big gotcha.
Honestly, I would kind of respect them for doing that.
That would be awesome. I was definitely unnerved by just the music, whatever's going on in the background. They did a great job.
But there's cool little twists to the background too,
It kind
right?
of feels at times that you're also hallucinating because of like the camera.
Well,
angle.
it's like video camera, and you were in an RC car during certain points, like exploring it. We had nested lands as well. It's a village in survival, like village management in survival type of game, where obviously very medieval, a lot of, I mean, what was the last shot? Like throwing bodies on a fire?
Yeah. Bring out your dad. I will say, I love management games. I love management games and sim games, village management sim games. Like this is right up my alley.
This feels like Manor Lords meets survival. So it has a different viewpoint, and you gotta take care of not just yourself, but everyone around you.
If you don't, your entire village is just gonna be.
Yeah, they even show you the burning bodies. Like, yeah, sorry, you lost some of your peeps.
Yep.
Better make
Done.
better decisions.
What I liked was seeing the blend of, like, obviously you're playing as this person and you have to survive.
είπα
And
και
he was like
στο
hunting stuff
βίντεο
and
μου, ρε.
like that, but I imagine you're also recruiting people for your settlement as like the king, and then you have to like choose who to recruit and build out a village.
Initially, it may start with you doing the micromanagement, but you eventually can assign villagers to go do the forage, go
Kind of like
hunting.
in Power World, how your pals become
Exactly.
your workers without a wage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then finally we had Unawake, a game, a first-person action game, mixed kind of a little bit of fantasy. You're battling hordes with melee, ranged weapons. It's hack and slash. It's roguelike. It looks like kind of like a Doom Skyrim to me.
I mean, honestly,
like that
the
description.
art direction was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, those environments, you see them, and it's just.
It's very pretty.
No, but something about it, I don't even know if I have a comparison. For some reason in the back of my mind, this probably won't make it. Mordor-esque, like, it just looked really good.
Yeah, Mordor.
very dark version of Mordor, but light
atmosphere.
Yeah, that's
That's like
A bummer version of hell.
Some notes they gave us: expected to launch early access late 2026 as well. They are designing the game to be moddable after release, which I think is really cool. People who like Path of Exile, they specifically called out it's a central skill and stat tree that is similar to Path of Exile, but more approachable. So it's not going to break
expect a skill forest instead of a skill tree.
Skill force, lots of complexity, lots of interlocking skills, layers of progression.
So I think a lot of it's going to be a game for people who really like their builds of things and like, okay, how can I specialize in this?
Oh, dude, I'm doing this all day. Just
Did you know that
Do that for me one more time. Just show me the
and then the double sword grab they were doing. And the fact it's moddable, I would love to see the direction that goes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's so much potential. You could have modders come in, do additional levels, boss fights, romance, unironically. You could add that if you want it. Like, lots of potential.
I think it's
Μα
the world
το
is
είπε και η
shit dark,
Sony, το είπε και η Sony ότι το PS5 είναι στο μέσο της ηλικίας του, παιδιά, ακόμα. Είναι στο μέσο της ηλικίας του. Και πρέπει να ξέρετε, όπα,
My enemies from within. My enemies from without.
Warhammer σε στυλ Diablo.
My enemies.
Είναι RPG.
Imagine you're playing inside Warhammer universe by the guys who can't use the army, who need to find this particular person in charge of bad things to make Imperium stand for one more day before grumbling to dust. That's basically how I would describe it. Just imagine the true Warhammerish stories where no choices are good, but you don't have an option to go away. You need to get your hands dirty, and it's just a matter of how precisely you will
είναι
achieve
tactical
this.
RPG.
One of the most significant changes that any player would experience compared to the Rogue Trader would be more stakes, more value in a surrounding, in any environment that you're playing with. The covers, the line of sights, we read how they are calculated, how they are working, and how much benefit they providing to the party. So it's basically would be more playing around the environment. We abandoned the step-up mechanics. So if you're ending your turn behind some wall, you are behind some wall. There won't be like one circle around you that allows you to step up of this cover and to shoot at anything. So the place where you start your turn, the place where you're ending your turn would be more significant. Other thing
Δεν είναι
is
εγώ ακριβώς.
there are way more.
Αλλά αυτά τα δύο είναι πολύ καλά top-down RPGs, και το Dark Heresy και το άλλο το Rogue Trader. Είναι πολύ ωραία top-down RPG σε στυλ Baldur's Gate.
Or ballistic skill, it's way more significant influence of the role-playing choices that you've made previously. Almost all of the combats in the game will have alternative ways to finish them, not just killing all of your enemies. We are allowing player to target specific parts of the body of the enemies, and by doing this, we're allowing to make your opponent lose an option to move or lose an option to use abilities. There are different ways how you can tactically approach your desire, your design of how to proceed with the combat. And of course, there is a whole new subsystem that came on a change of the momentum. This is a morale system. Momentum was a party-based, and you spend it to activate some heroic moments of your companions. For the Dark Heresy, we feel it need to be more intimate, more personal, and not just for your party. We are not just telling a story through the environment or the words of in the dialogue. No, we're actually making cases. We're actually making the culprits. We're actually collecting and interpreting evidence and discussing them with your retinue and analyzing them and making conclusions. There are some other mighty forces inside the scintilla because you're not playing in a vacuum and you need to struggle for power. But most of the time, you are playing as a person in charge, as a person that have authority, and the person who need to make hard choices. One of the most significant ways of the influence of a story for Dark Heresy would be your decision of which case is more important. For example, there is a under Spire slums, and this is a toxic waste. And the level of the toxic sea is growing. And if you are going there as a first place, there will be...
Θα κάνει showcase και η Sony, διότι θα κάνει showcase και η Microsoft στις 22 του μήνα. Οπότε η Sony οπωσδήποτε θα κάνει κάτι, παιδες.
But if you are going there...
Οπωσδήποτε, παιδιά, θα κάνει κάτι η Sony. 100% έτσι.
And you will be playing...
Ενώ κάθε φορά που η Microsoft κάνει κάτι, η Sony κάνει κάτι.
Changing based on the timings, how you decided, how you approach this.
To venture forth into darkness and bring the light of the Emperor to the uncharted void. All must be cleansed in his name.
Is there anything you can tell us about like new factions, new notable characters, or iconic Warhammer 40k lore?
There would be Treason, I don't know, most iconic thing that you can potentially name and encounter as a rogue trader, as a Treason. It would be some interesting takes on Astra Militarum. I won't share specifics not to spoil the fun, but it would be there. And there would be some brand new systems, like augments ones. You will be able to replace some parts of your body with interesting pieces of Imperium technology. There would be some elaboration on a story of the world behind the main road of the Inquisitor Calcasar's shenanigans. Let's say it like this. It would be some interesting dive on a past of the von Valancius dynasty, even further than Theodora. There would be some new takes on how dangerous wildlife can be. Other thing that definitely we will provide for the player is
ή κάπου θα κάνει show για το για πιο πολύ Resident Evil 9. Ναι, αλλά ποιο είναι το κακό με την Capcom? Θα σου πω.
This is a rogue trader story, and rogue trader is kind of part of his void ship, so there would be some expanding of the void ship, some new places to visit, some old places to revisit. It would be new companion with a whole set of unique mechanics inside it. It would be the general system of augmentations provided to the players, so if you always wanted to replace the limbs of the Heinrichs with some like pretty adamant ones, you will have such an option. Not just Iron Hands from the Biomonsi, but the real Iron Hands. Yes, that's an option. It's the first DLC that allows us to expand the late game parts of the Rogue Trader and expand it not mechanically, but expand it in a 100% of the different aspects of the game.
Let's first talk about the new DLC for Rogue Trader.
Actually, I'm going to interrupt you. Can you tell people generally, basic bitches like Jake, can you explain Warhammer 40k as general? Like what's the playthrough about?
We actually asked Anatoly to describe all of this for people not familiar with Warhammer, and this is how he described it.
Imagine you're playing inside Warhammer universe by the guys who can't use the army, who need to find this particular person in charge of bad things to make Imperium stand for one more day before grumbling to dust. That's basically how I would describe it.
there's a new companion, and there's also this companion has unique mechanics. And
they're also doing things like new environments. They're revisiting previous environments and then overhauling them. They're altering and they're changing, not to get too specific, but they're changing things about the late game to extend that roadway. This DLC alone offers 12 to 15 hours of additional content. Like, there's a lot of meat on the bone.
So I'm very happy. I was extremely happy when he said that, yes, this game is going to be fully voice acted. And I'm really excited because it helps people to, you know, have like this depth and this, to understand how the characters really feel, especially in a world that's so heavy and difficult.
Dark even at times. Yes. But to be clear, Dark Heresy is not, it's not like a sequel to Rogue Trader. It's a separate system. It works different mechanically. There's different things going on, but my understanding, and speaking with Anatoly, was that it's going to be a very narrative focus. That's the primary concern. Not that Rogue Trader was not a focus, but that's where a lot of the effort is going with the voiced cast throughout the entire thing and many other aspects of it. The narrative is like the central component.
One of the things that I really enjoyed that he mentioned was you can target enemies' specific body parts to sever them during fight.
That was the coolest part that I'd seen.
So it's really nice because if they have like a they're very fast. So you want to target their legs to cripple them and so on. Not only that, but you know how sometimes you get into a very awkward situation where you're crushing the combat, and there is still that one guy that, in spite of all his friends being dead in the battlefield, he's still trying his. That's not going to be really a thing. Enemies can surrender. They can run away. They can try to sometimes maybe even negotiate their way out of this, and it's up to you to decide what happens.
Yeah, hearing all those combat options was the coolest thing to hear him talk about. Like, you can render your opponent useless in whatever different limb you want to actually target, but you can also make them blind. There's so many different unique features to the combat where even when I was listening to talk about it, I was like, okay, wow, I've never played a game like this, but it sounds really intriguing.
Yeah, and it was just interesting to see Anatoly describe how the team wanted to revisit some of those things that are taken for granted in RPGs, like the concept of just an enemy. Well, you fight until all the enemies are dead, and that's it. But the team went back and was like, that doesn't like necessarily make sense. Like, sometimes the guy would be like, you just blew his head off, you just exploded that guy. I'm covered in John.
Κοίταξε, για το Blades of Fire demo λένε ότι το παιχνίδι είναι καλό, αλλά γίνεται καλό μετά. Δηλαδή ξεκινάει πάρα πολύ άσχημα το παιχνίδι κατά μία έννοια, αλλά γίνεται πολύ καλύτερο μετά. Το πρόβλημα είναι όμως ότι εγώ που το είδα δεν μ' άρεσε καθόλου. Δηλαδή και να γίνεται καλό μετά δεν με ενδιαφέρει, γιατί μου θύμισε God of War και ήθελα πολύ να πάω. Ναι, δεν ξέρω τι αυτό και αυτά. Μου φάνηκε πολύ παράξενο, πολύ μυστήριο game το Blades of Fire.
And I can't stress enough, Owlcat games, they know what they're doing when it comes to CRPGs. Like, they are not to be messed.
Τώρα για το τι, παιδιά, έχει να δείξει η Sony, μην περιμένετε σε καμία περίπτωση
sitting and playing with people like at a party or with my family. This is going to be Towerborn coming from Stoic and Xbox Game Studios. We have Sprint City from Double Dutch Games. These are the creators of Speedrunner.
Τι έλεγα. Ναι, η Sony, παιδιά, δεν πρόκειται να δείξει το Wolverine από τώρα. Θα το αφήσει για το τέλος του καλοκαιριού. Δεν πρόκειται να μας δείξει από τώρα Wolverine, παιδιά. Gameplay κατά το καλοκαίρι τον Ιούνιο. Λέω το τέλος του καλοκαιριού, μαλακίες. Κατά τον Ιούνιο, καλοί μου παιδες. Έτσι. Αυτό που θα προωθήσει η Sony είναι το Σάρος. Αυτό. Το οποίο βγαίνει τον Μάιο. Αυτό το game είναι, αν κάνει κάποιο showcase, θα το κάνει κατά τον Μάιο. Και θα αφορά αυτό τον... όχι τον Μάιο, θα το κάνει... Μπορεί να το κάνει και αυτό τον μήνα. Αλλά θα αφορά αυτό το game, δεν ξέρω τι άλλο θα μπορούσε να αφορά. Ή μπορεί να έχουμε State of Play που θα έχει μέσα παιχνίδια της Capcom, όπως το Onimusha, ας πούμε, ή το Pragmata ή κάτι τέτοιο. Γιατί η Sony με την Capcom πάνε πλάι-πλάι. Απρίλιο βγαίνει. Εγώ νόμιζα ότι μετατέθηκε για το Μάιο. Ή το Pragmata βγαίνει το Μάιο και το Onimusha βγαίνει το Μάιο. Δεν ξέρω.
Inside like a Diablo style RPG gear sort of system, and so we spent a lot.
Ναι, για το Japanese State of Play χεστήκαμε γιατί ήταν μια μπουρδα, παιδιά. Ήταν μια μπουρδα από την αρχή ως το τέλος. Ήταν για τους Ιάπωνες και δεν ήταν για εμάς. Και οι Ιάπωνες, παιδιά, πλέον, επειδή ασχολούνται με το mobile gaming πάρα πολύ, ήταν πολύ μυστήριο και παράξενο showcase. Θα δούμε, παιδιά. Είδαμε.
We had a vision of trying to evolve the brawler into something bigger, something that hadn't really been done before. You can see other games have taken different routes. You know, some have taken kind of the roguelite route, some stayed into the traditional. We wanted to kind of expand it to more like the true action RPG. And in order to do that, early access was very, very important to figure out what was going to work and what wasn't. Simultaneously, we didn't want to be caught in early access limbo, right? Like, I'm sure this is the kind of things that you would love to talk about. I love to talk about them too. How do you not stay in early access for 7 years? Our intent and purpose was we need to come out of early access solid. And there is a certain point where you just collect everything. Most of the feedback that's coming in either kind of falls into an existing category. Hey, a lot of people have said this thing. You know, maybe you might get something new, but you look at it.
Μακάρι να ισχύει αυτό για το Lies of P. Και το sequel για το Lies of P παίζει να είναι γαμάτο, γιατί όπως το Lies of P είχε σαν βάση το μυθιστόρημα του Πινόκιο, στο 2, αν θυμάστε στο τέλος του 1, θα είναι η χώρα του Oz. Λοιπόν, θα είναι η χώρα του Oz, παιδες. Με την Dorothy και το Σκιάχτρο και αυτά και το ένα τ' άλλο. Αλλά δεν ξέρω αν θα έχουμε πάλι τον ίδιο χαρακτήρα. Το Lies of P σου φάνηκε δύσκολο. Ήταν όπως το κάθε Souls-like game.
To know what's going on, we really would like something more clearly leading us through, and so we've spent a very significant amount of time and resource to put a narrative from the jump. And so there's an arc now. There's a primary antagonist. You will understand that antagonist. You will confront that antagonist, and there will be resolution. And so there's probably a 12 to 20-ish hour story arc now in the game that players can look forward to and feel like there's a resolution to the Tower Point.
Ποιο κομμάτι είναι πολύ βλακεία? Αυτό είναι παλαβό.
Hello, we're Undercoders, and in the studio based in Barcelona. Recently, we've been focused on developing 3D platformers, but our studio is heavily influenced by arcade classics, Japanese culture, and extreme sports games. And Dense Attack is our dream project, a step forward for the studio combining everything we love. In Dense Attack, you'll discover a not-so-distant future Japan in which local railways have been abandoned and are now used by underground gangs to compete in illegal contests of train acrobatics. You'll have to rack up points by chaining tricks, explore huge levels, race against rival crews, and uncover a wild story as you travel through Japan taking the railways back. We are making a game that is not just about what you do, but how you do it. It's expressive, stylish, and totally up to you. From our first trips in the late 90s, we've been obsessed by traveling across Japan by train and being able to dive into the local culture, getting to know the architecture, the landscapes, the folklore, and we're always captivated by the sheer contrast of their peaceful countryside and the high energy of its huge cities, which somehow feels connected and part of the same cultural rhythm. It's a never-ending source of inspiration that has been fueling our creative energy throughout all the years and has now materialized in Dense Attack. On your adventure, you'll find a variety of challenges to move forward, from trip-pack arenas to compete for high scores, to objective-based exploration levels, and even racing circuits.
The world is packed with a bunch of unique characters from different gangs and personalities that you will have to face on your journey through Japan. And with every new challenge, you will grow as a Dense Attacker and further add to the chaos. We've handcrafted every stage from the ground up, pulling from real-world locations to make every landscape different but recognizable. You will go really fast, but if you look closely, you'll catch references to every corner of Japanese culture.
You'll be fighting wild boss battles against gang leaders, which will test everything that
Δεν
you've
έχουν
learned.
δώσει ημερομηνία και δεν ξέρω αν καθυστερήσει αυτό τελικά.
These are always full of surprises. You'll never know what secret technique your rival hides, so you'll have to get creative to overcome them with your train. They're a mix of spectacle, personality, and challenge that one could expect for an anime-style showdown-made game. Dense Attack is a love letter to anime, skate games, and Japan's iconic train system. If you like Jet Set Radio, Tony Hawk, or Dense to Go, you can't miss this train. Pun intended.
Wishlist
Το
now.
νούμουσα δεν
We
είναι
can wait to
ακριβώς
show you more.
Souls-like. Είναι πιο πολύ hack and slash.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to Dense Attack. It's the best game in the world. See us.
Hello, we're Undercoders. Hello, Mr. Hello.
Wishlist now. Wishlist now. Wishlist now. We can't wait to show you more.
Talked to McLaren and Shayna, and they were awesome and very chatty about their game, and for all good reasons. They were an early access game. It's they want to focus more on the RPG side of things, but technically speaking, looter, brawler, side scroller, like you said, meant to be
like Castle Crashers.
Yeah, that is definitely the most common comparison they get, but along those lines of couch co-op, you want to play with a buddy or play with whoever's next to you, and they are actually an early access game now going to full release.
Nice.
So this is their big update to justify the full release, but it was already definitely justified. Upon full release, we're looking at 170 plus missions. What they say is probably around 20 plus hours of content, and they also want to focus on these builds, which lead to an ultimate replayability. So there's also a difficulty bar they're going to be adding to all of this. They have a level that is going to be called, I believe, Brutal. And from what I'm being told, it will be extremely difficult, but the game is meant to be replayed plenty, with you focusing on what builds you actually want as you play through it all.
There's definitely a huge market for co-op couch gaming right now in a world of like online multiplayer. I feel like that's kind of a lost art. You saw successive games like Split Fiction. stuff like that. So.
For those of you who are lonely, without friends,
Onyx the Dark Grip.
I actually played this game by myself every time I have played it, and I still had a blast.
And for those who haven't checked out the original, with this big update though, also introducing a new biome. You have new bosses. The enemies you fight against have new styles of combat. So they are really introducing a full-fledged game that was already pretty fleshed out to begin with, but they're wanting people to be like, okay, this is technically a new game. So for those who are expected to stumble across this, you are getting a brand new side scroller with so much replayability.
And it's another situation where they took a ton of feedback from early access.
Yes, heavily community focused. Again, we've
Το
said it
οποίο
many
ναι,
times.
αυτό είπα ότι θα είναι ο League της Souls-like, αλλά θα είναι πιο πολύ hack and slash.
Next up we had Dinch Attack.
I like Train. I love these. You tried to steal it from me, but I was taking that.
I love
Who
these guys.
doesn't like trains?
I love these guys.
This is my favorite Japan-inspired game ever.
I had seen this game before, but I didn't really understand what it even was. But now I understand what it is, the inspirations. Like, it makes sense. As weird as it is to say that an acrobatic train game makes sense to me, it makes sense now.
Yeah, because we were talking, what, like Temple...
That is a game for the new generation.
Like,
yes.
Temple Runner X, like TikTok.
Yeah, you see
Gameplay από Fable, ναι.
Like, to keep people's attention.
But in the best of way, because also I love doing this kind of format because you see a different side of those devs. Like, they went out of their way to send us that stuff, and we get to see a different side of them, and to see and connect to the faces behind it and see their enthusiasm.
They're so fun. How could they not make a fun game?
Yeah.
It's impossible.
The boss, the mecha train
the
thing.
mecha train boss is sick.
When I heard there's going to be a boss fight in the train acrobatics game, I was like,
at first glance, you're like, what is this? And then you realize you see more of it.
I can't wait to know the storyline.
Exactly. So it seems fun and engaging, and then there's like, oh, there's a story behind this.
And there's real
bosses
and real inspirations. Like
so
they show you what has actually inspired them to make this Japanese style game.
Yes, I think.
Lovely. Train out of 10.
Next up in that group, we had Sprint City. That is coming from Double Dutch, which was the creators of Speedrunners, which is another very popular, couch game that people have played for a very long time. They have Speedrunners 2 already coming out, but this is a whole different game, but from the same creators.
This looks like a game that, in a good way, would really piss me off to lose to other people.
It looks like a game that would ruin friendships.
I would get. It looks like one of those side scrollers that I would fall so far behind where you can't even see the others, and it just kind of leaves you real upset.
The first jump, and you're like, I'm gonna get it.
Turn the console off.
Get a bigger TV so I can see where they're at.
To me, Sprint City is the game that you are over at like a party. It's like the Super Smash Bros. Effect.
Yes.
It's like we've played a round of Pong or something. And now we want to play a video game together. We're gonna go play this, and people are gonna get pissed. And Jake and Rob are gonna get in a fist fight probably. And like,
he doesn't want that.
And who do you think is gonna win that fist fight?
We already had this.
Who do you think would win that? Just look at the size of the feet. Pretty close, aren't? Yeah.
Did you guys ever play Overcooked with your families?
I did not, but I've watched people and I've seen it ruin relationships. I feel like
it can. It's the ultimate test of communication. In this case, my understanding is the game is much more competitive, where you're playing against your friends, you're not really working together. But these types of games,
it's momentum based. It's Sprint City literally, in like Speedrunners, and so I feel like it's one of those games that's also probably very satisfying to be good at. And to be like
once it clicks,
but you can't be too good.
Once you're hitting all the
but you can't
places.
be too good, or your friends won't play with you.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, now we have a set of beautiful games, in my opinion.
Το Dusk Fade είναι ωραίο, παιδιά.
From We Appy Studio and THQ Nordic. We have Dusk Fade from Weird Beluga.
Κάτσε, θα δείξουν κάτι ωραία πράγματα εδώ, παιδιά.
With Pugstorm called Core Keeper.
What do you mean?
What?
What do you mean he smashed?
What do you think? He fell from a great height.
Yeah, but he couldn't have... did he really die?
I imagine he was crushed to a pulp. Do you think they'll ever find his body?
Mom!
Okay. I was just making sure you were paying attention.
Έχει άλλο ένα για το τέλος, παιδιά. Και το τελευταίο είναι καλό όμως. Δείτε αυτό. Αυτό εδώ.
Do you want to die?
Really?
Ωραία μουσική έχει. Oh my god!
Surprise!
You can't turn back time, my star. It'll be different, but you'll both be okay.
Μ' έλεγα όμορφο φαίνεται αυτό. Όχι παιδιά, όμορφο είναι.
First, we had Eternal Life of Goldman that we just watched that trailer.
It looks so good.
Art style is crazy.
I love the hand-drawn vibe. Oh.
It looks like those classic.
It looks so good.
Classic animation.
It gives me also Cuphead too.
Cuphead, it's like Cuphead, Hollow Knight.
Yeah. Oh, and so they've had a previous trailer that was very unsettling because the narrative, the narration went from like comforting,
Happy, and then it got really
to
dark.
like dark and scary. This one, it was much more.
I miss the murder vibes.
But like it works. I'm so excited. I think it looks so good.
It's gonna be emotional. It seems like an emotional game that like people are gonna get tied to. Like you said, Hollow Knight. What was it? Celeste.
Εν τω μεταξύ, το Marvel Wolverine το είχα παίξει παιδιά, ήταν το πρώτο game που είχα νοικιάσει τότε για το PlayStation το 3. Είχα πάρει το PlayStation 3 και ένα από τα πρώτα games που είχα παίξει αυτό ήταν το Wolverine και το λάτρευα παιδιά, το Wolverine, γαμάτο παιχνίδι. Και τα Marvel Ultimate Alliance πάρα πολύ καλά επίσης.
I don't even know how you do that though. Like, how do you hand draw a game? That's crazy.
See, hopefully next year we have
people more talented than us.
Ναι, αυτό.
I'm like, where are the frames at? What do you?
Ναι, ναι, τα X-Men Ultimate Alliance και είχα πάρει και το 1 και το 2. Φανταστικά games. Λάτρευα και το X-Men Origins Wolverine πάρα πολύ.
To be able to have a massive update with the northern biome on January 28th. There's a new boss, there's next-gen weapons and armor, whole new stuff.
Yeah, I play this a lot with my wife. It's just like one of our couple games, and I love it, and so seeing new content is crazy.
I played it a lot by myself. I started playing it and suddenly
Είχαν βγάλει το Ultimate Alliance και στο PS4, σοπαρέ.
Yeah, I thought I was doing well. I mentioned it to Lua that I played Core Keeper, and I felt pretty good about where it was. And it's just, I have 100 hours, and I have this, and this. I'm like, okay, I'll just leave.
It's a great game. I had a lot of fun. It's one of these games you start and suddenly you spent a week playing it.
Oh, you will lose yourself. Yeah. The other night, we stayed up till 1 a.m. playing it when we meant to play till 11, and it's just because.
It's good.
Yeah, it's just one more run through the mines. I'll be right back.
How would you like define?
Ένα Daredevil από την Insomniac χθες.
I mean, I would say it's Stardew Valley. Kind of meets Terraria, but it's like procedurally generated, up to 8-player co-op, so you can play with all of your friends, unless you have way more friends than me.
Παιδιά, όσο θα τον επόμενο χρόνο που θα βγει και η νέα ταινία Avengers, στάνταρ θα έχουμε πιο πολλά Marvel Games να ανακοινώνονται. Αν θυμάσαι σε αυτά τα leaks που είχαμε δει της Insomniac πριν από 2 χρόνια, υπήρχε και leak για X-Men παιχνίδια. Και στο Avengers που θα βγει, παιδιά, αυτό τον χρόνο, και είπα του χρόνου, και στην Avengers την ταινία που θα βγει φέτος, θα δείξουν εκεί και τους X-Men. Οπότε, στάνταρ θα έχουν και άλλα X-Men games.
That's exactly that whole era, like the PS1, PS2 era. That's what was screaming at me.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, and then there's boss fights with dodge rolls and health bars, so therefore it is a Souls-like.
And we saw so many different environments too.
Well, you know, like some games, you see the gameplay.
She's about to lose her mind.
Well, I was gonna say, like, you see some gameplay, and you just like, you know, it's gonna feel good.
Yeah, you can tell by watching somebody else play that feels so. Yeah, there's so much dopamine being
and
released.
And then you actually play it, and you get destroyed.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm not that good, but I will get there. Yeah. It looks very, very good.
It's like cute. It looks like a fun game, like you would let your kids play as well.
Is it like a good combination of all that? You even saw like a little bit of Kingdom Hearts there, a little bit.
Yeah, definitely a good mix.
Ναι, αφού η Sony πλέον έχει καταλάβει ότι ό,τι έχει να κάνει με τη Marvel, ότι πουλάει, θα συνεχίσει, παιδιά, αυτό το μοτίβο κανονικά και με τον νόμο, έτσι.
And respect.
So I can call it a love letter because I know when they see it, they're going to feel the same way.
It's good. That's well said.
Έλα ρε παιδιά, πόσα games ακόμα, δεν μπορώ άλλο.
Citizens of Nippon, a new dawn rises upon your land. Through progress and technology, we bring prosperity.
Αυτό είναι με Ιάπωνες.
Your nation ripples with mutiny. But our technology will protect your peace.
Σαμουράι με ρομπότ.
Peace demands the sacrifice of those that stand in the way of progress. On behalf of your glorious Emperor Mutsuhito, we will bring light where there is darkness. Together, we march into a brighter tomorrow. For peace. For progress. For the Empire.
Παράξενο. Πολύ παράξενο.
This is Ricard Pigliosu, and I am the co-founder at Epic Terrors Entertainment. I'm here to tell you about our first game, Starfinder Afterlight, licensed from Paizo. At its core, Starfinder Afterlight is a party-based RPG in a universe that mixes technology and magic. We focus on creating great storytelling inspired by movies like Guardians of the Galaxy or shows like Firefly. While in the game you will create your own character, in the demo you play as one of the companions, Sterling.
So you give orders? Naughty.
Thanks to the success of our Kickstarter, our game will have full voiceover. The dialogue system is the main way to introduce the player to the lore of the world.
If you have the sudden, weird feeling of being naked, it's Lou. Her gaze is like an X-ray machine. By the looks on her face, she either thinks you're a joke, or it's her favorite song playing.
That was our narrator, Roger Clark, known from the Red Dead Redemption series, giving the right space western feeling we're looking for in the game.
Yeah, sorry to ruin happy hour for you, but I have bad news about the big one and the runt. Don't worry, I promise not to say I told you so.
Lou here is referring to Tycho and Cole, our friends, that after a heist
Supergirl
gone
που
wrong,
βγαίνει το καλοκαίρι. Ναι,
Lou
παιδιά.
seems to know
Ανυπομονώ
something.
για την ταινία Supergirl, παιδες.
If you push Lou about the information she's skipping, she's going to be annoyed, and that will lower your approval with her and limit your potential romance options.
Κάτσε ποια games θα δείξουν εδώ πέρα.
Hold on, hotshot. I own the info. I choose how to deliver it. All right. They were ambushed at...
Out of the Road, Gallipoli, Starfinder. Παιδιά, να σου πω κάτι, δεν μπορώ άλλο, φτάνει. Φτάνει. No more. Εντάξει, είδαμε, καλό, αλλά δεν ξέρω αν κρατάνε κάτι καλό για το τέλος. Αλλά αμφιβάλλω, νομίζω ότι ό,τι καλό ήταν για να δείξουνε, νομίζω ότι το δείξανε. Πιο πολύ μου αρέσει που κουβεντιάζω μαζί σας, παρά που κάθομαι και βλέπω αυτό το πράγμα. Λοιπόν, παιδιά, ακούστε καλά, παιδιά, να δείτε πώς έχει το σχέδιο. Αύριο δεν θα κάνω live, γιατί θα έχω πάρα πολλή δουλειά με video edit. Θα ήθελα να κάνω live, αλλά πρέπει να δουλέψω σε video edit. Ίσως να μην κάνω live για το Σάββατο, μπορεί, δεν ξέρω, ίσως. I don't know. Δεν ήταν clickbait showcase, διότι έδειξαν πράγματα που δεν μας είχαν ξαναδείξει. Δηλαδή αυτές τις συνεντεύξεις με τους διάφορους τους developers, ας πούμε, ο Jeff Keighley αυτά δεν θα τα έδειχνε ποτέ. Ποτέ όμως. Αλλά εντάξει, παιδιά, θα δούμε. Λοιπόν, κλείνω, θα τα πούμε αύριο, θα τα πούμε μεθαύριο μάλλον. Τώρα, όσον αφορά για το τι θα παίξω, δεν ξέρω αν θα έχω, ρε παιδιά, αυτό το νέο game, το οποίο είναι με τους δεινόσαυρους, τον πνευματικό το διάδοχο του Dino Crisis, αυτό το Ultra Violet, δεν ξέρω αν θα έχω αυτό για το Σάββατο. Ελπίζω να το έχω. Αλλιώς θα δούμε τι θα παίξουμε. Αλλά και πάλι σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ για την παρέα και για την κουβεντούλα, παιδιά. Thank you. Είστε τέλειοι. Ναι, το code είναι αυτό. Για το code το Violet τους είχα ζητήσει κωδικό, αλλά δεν ξέρω αν θα μου τον στείλουνε. Οπότε, παιδιά, θα δούμε. Έτσι, λοιπόν, κλείνω. Φιλάκια πολλά. Bye bye. Ό,τι θέλετε, μου στέλνετε στα social media και αυτά, έτσι. Αυτό. Φιλάκια πολλά, φιλάκια.